Montreal Canadiens face the Tampa Bay Lightning. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Lightning on Internet 945. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 12:30 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Utah Hockey Club. Capitals on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 950.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 12:30 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Utah Hockey Club. Capitals on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 950. Utah on Internet 947. 1 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Tampa Bay Lightning. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Lightning on Internet 945. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 9th.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. Sirius XM Fight Nation, Sirius XM 156, and the SXM app.
New York Rangers legend and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier joined Scott Laughlin on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to share what it was like to play in the 1994 New York Rangers, as well as ending the 54-year drought for the franchise and how that team represented what a hockey team is all about.
Well, look, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about 1994 as well. You mentioned Mike Keenan. We spoke with him in studio a couple of weeks ago. He still speaks so highly of you and of that run. So take us back to ending the 54-year drought. In Game 7, you get a power play goal. You shovel a puck underneath of Kirk McLean. Stands up as the game winner, as it turns out. So take us back to that hot, steamy night. What was it, June 14th of 1994 at the Garden in New York?
Just, I guess just starting, going to the rink, trying to keep your same routine. Brian Leach and I would always drive together down through Times Square, down Broadway 7th Avenue to take a right-hand turn on 33rd Street. And you could feel things were different, even from the Upper West Side. Just the vibe and the energy of the whole city was just electrified. Getting down towards Madison Square Garden, seeing the crowd already starting to build, the police officers surrounding the Garden. It was a carnival-like atmosphere. Obviously, we knew we were something on the cusp of doing something that hadn't been done in 54 years. The magnitude of it was palpable. I mean, the energy, just everything just seemed to be so electrified. You try to keep yourself in the moment. You try to stay with your routine. Obviously, there's a much more at stake. And then, we found ourselves, much like we did in 87, up 3-1 in the series, losing to the 5th game, where it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that New York Rangers were finally going to win a Stanley Cup after 54 years. Only to find ourselves, the party atmosphere got a little bit delayed and then had to go back to Vancouver, which again, we got trounced in Vancouver, just like we did in 87. And now we're coming home for Game 7. And the same thing happened. We felt good about our chances. We felt we were a better team than Vancouver. We felt that we should have wrapped up the series earlier against Vancouver, but that's the greatest thing about sports. You can think all you want, but the reality is they got a heartbeat over there too. They got pride over there too. They're there for a reason because they're a great team. And here we are in Game 7 and happen to go out and execute a great game plan to beat a very hungry, very young, very physical, hard team to play against in Vancouver. And luckily for us, we had a lot of experience. We had a dynamic, incredible amount of talent with Brian Leach and Sergei Zubov, Alex Kovalev, Adam Graves, and Mike Richter and net, and then sprinkled in with some veterans, some hardened veterans with McTavish and Tikkanen and great, maybe not the most skilled team that's ever won a Stanley Cup, but if you look up the word team, they could put the 1994 Ranger team right there. And that year, that team epitomizes what a team is all about.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 12:30 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Utah Hockey Club. Capitals on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 950. Utah on Internet 947. 1 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Tampa Bay Lightning. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Lightning on Internet 945. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 12:30 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Utah Hockey Club. Capitals on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 950. Utah on Internet 947. 1 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Tampa Bay Lightning. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Lightning on Internet 945. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 12:30 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Utah Hockey Club. Capitals on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 950. Utah on Internet 947. 1 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Tampa Bay Lightning. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Lightning on Internet 945. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 9th.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. SiriusXM, Channel 89.
Six-time Stanley Cup champion and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier stopped by SiriusXM NHL Network Radio's The Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin to discuss what Game 7 means to him and what it's like to also lose a Game 7.
Well, when you think about the two greatest words in sports, you think about Game 7 for many reasons. Obviously, to get to a Game 7, both teams obviously very evenly matched from the literal sense, the Game 7. You don't have to be a sport fan to understand that something's big at stake and that you will go watch it even if you don't know the teams, you don't know the players, you know the backdrop, because it's the greatest form of reality TV in the world, because there is going to be a winner and a loser. A lot at stake, obviously, but for me personally, it's a lifetime journey to acquire the skill set that's required to be able to perform when the stakes are the highest, under the most scrutinized pressure, when you're expected to perform. And you think about a Game 7 moment or Game 7, that's when you have to perform. It's a winner or go home situation. And what are the skill sets that are required to do that? Obviously, we've practiced our game and honed our skill set for years and years and years, tens of thousands of hours of honing our skills. But emotionally, mentally, what prepares you to play in those moments and perform when you're expected to? That, I think, is what really defines a Game 7 moment for the players that have excelled in Game 7 moments. And what are those life lessons that we can teach our young boys and girls, and the skill sets required to do that? The breathing, it's being able to slow your heart down, and your blood pressure goes up, and your decision-making is rash, and concentration varies because of all of it. What allows you to kind of really slow down and use your God-given talent, and then obviously the repetitions through your whole life that you know you can do it. You just got to be able to do it when it matters most. It's like hitting a home run, and like Aaron Boone did, or doing something special at the right moments. And I think the educational part of the docuseries is really fascinating to me there, to help our young boys and girls who will be faced with big decisions in their life. And you don't have to be a sport fan to have a Game 7 moment in life. Everybody's faced with decisions that are going to alter the trajectory of their lives in one way or another there. And we're trying to figure out what those skill sets are.
What does it feel like to lose a Game 7?
Fortunately for me, I never experienced what the Oilers did last year of going all the way to the end in a championship game and losing in a Game 7. Anytime you get to a Game 7, it's a hard journey to get there. Two teams, evenly matched. It's been a war. It's been a tug of war. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's tired. And then to lose that is devastating. I think about my own experience in Game 7 of them. The two still hurt to this day. What could I have done different? You always say that you got to lose in order to understand how to win. I do agree. 7, winning 7 of them. The two still hurt to this day. What could I have done different? You always say that you got to lose in order to understand how to win. I do agree with that. I think there are lessons in loss and in failure, both as a team and as an individual. If I had my preference, I would have liked to have learned those lessons while I was winning. But unfortunately, that's just not the way it is. But I look back at it now and just think about how grateful I am for all the lessons in wins and the losses, because it really ends up defining who you are as a person and as a player.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA E6.
I'm Frank Track.
TSN 690 is brought to you by Depodia Mini Entrepot. They shoot, we store. Try 4 weeks free today. Visit Depodium.com.
Campbell versus Gallo. Two Montrealers giving you everything you'd want in a local sports radio show. Sports? Check. Opinions and banter? Check. Knowledgeable insiders? Check. Homemade sound effects? Check. Campbell versus Gallo. Together. Weekdays from 10 till 2 on TSN 690. CKGM AM is TSN 690. Live streaming and on demand on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto through the iHeartRadio Canada app. Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back-to-back home games after being foiled by former friend Jake Allen and the New Jersey Devils. The Montreal Canadiens tried to break the seal today against Andrei Vasilevsky and the Tampa Bay Lightning. With points in 6 of their last 10 games, including back-to-back wins at home versus Ottawa, the Lightning would be comfortably positioned third in the Atlantic Division with 2 points today, as it's the Canadiens and the Lightning for the final time this season. Coming up next on TSN 690. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another afternoon edition of Habs Hockey on TSN 690. Victor Finley coming to you live from the TSN 690 broadcast booth above center ice at Bell Center, joined today by my good friend and broadcast partner John Goyens, as it's the Montreal Canadiens going for the season series sweep today against the Tampa Bay Lightning in their final of 3 meetings this year. John, we were ready to go to see 2 of these Atlantic Division rivals clash with some of the best hockey players in the world. On the other side of Tampa Bay, Vasilevsky gets the start, his second in as many days. As we found out about 2 minutes ago, no Nikita Kucherov today for Tampa.
That's a huge piece for any team that relies on a guy like Nikita Kucherov. 82 points on the season. He is the straw that stirs the drink on a many nights, especially skill set. When you think nothing's happening, he lights you up. He makes others around him better. So we're going to see a necessary, grittier performance out of Tampa tonight or this afternoon.
He has torched the Habs in the past, but he can't hurt them today. Out of the lineup, no Kucherov for the Lightning. As the Montreal Canadiens, their only lineup change today is Logan Mailloux is out and Jaden Struble is back into the lineup for Montreal versus the Lightning this afternoon. Let's go down to center ice and get you teed up for the anthems. Here is your PA announcer, Michelle. Versus the Lightning this afternoon. Let's go down to center ice and get you teed up for the anthems. Here is your PA announcer, Michelle.
Mesdames, Messieurs, veuillez maintenant vous lever, retirer chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux des États-Unis et du Canada. Malgré les récents événements, nous vous demandons, dans l'esprit de ce grand sport qui nous unit, de respecter les hymnes canadiens et américains, ainsi que les joueurs qui représentent fièrement leur pays. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. You move your hats and caps for the singing of the national anthems of the United States and Canada. Despite recent events, we ask, in the spirit of this great game that unites us, that you kindly respect the Canadian and U.S. national anthems and the players representing each country. Veuillez accueillir Alexandre Sylvestre et les élèves de l'école Saint-Edmond. Please welcome Alexandre Sylvestre and the students of the St. Edmund School.
Montreal and Tampa Bay for the third and final time this year. Habs with a pair of wins over the Lightning already, including a pair of weeks ago right here at the Bell Center, thanks to a late game-winning goal in regulation. Let's get you introduced to the starting netminders on this Sunday afternoon. For Tampa Bay, the great Andrei Vasilevsky goes 2 games in a row. He had 34 saves in a 6-3 win over Detroit yesterday, and with 12 days of rest coming up, looks like John Cooper and company are happy to start their Vezina Trophy winning netminder for the second time in as many days, as he'll line up against Jakub Dovich. He's taken the loss in each of his last 3 starts, but he was good again in Los Angeles, making a number of saves despite the 6-3 losing effort for the Habs. He carries a .245 goals against average and a .917 save percentage into this one today through 8 games. Center ice we go. Anthony Cirelli wins the opening faceoff. He starts out this afternoon alongside Jake Gensel and Gage Gonsalves as Montreal with Alex Newhook, Kirby Dach, and Josh Anderson. We get our first whistle here. Stoppage in plays. The Habs also start with Jaden Struble on the blue line alongside Alex Carrier.
There was no surprise that we were going to see Lane Hudson go back with Mike Matheson for this one.
Looks like Savard and Jack-Eye will stay together as well. As the neutral zone faceoff here is sent back into the Montreal zone. Jaden Struble picks up the puck. Plays it around the boards. Far side corner. Struble knocks Gage Gonsalves off the puck. And it comes back up the wing to center ice. Controlled by Josh Anderson. Skating in down the wing. Drops it off. Here's Carrier forcing it back across. It comes up the wing for Matheson. Now Tampa Bay take it away. Gonsalves to center, backhands it in, and Alex Newhook races after it. First change of the afternoon for both Montreal and Tampa Bay as the first line for the Habs steps out there. Newhook still on the ice for the time being as the loose puck comes over to Juraj Slafkovsky. Now Newhook will step off for Cole Caulfield. Habs with a pass to center ice. Here's Suzuki feeding it back to Carrier. Okay, head to Slafkovsky, broke it up at the Tampa Bay line. It's going to be whistled for offside.
Yeah, again, Tampa doing a really good job on the gap as Montreal looked like they were going to break out once, twice, reloaded it a couple times. There's a stretch pass to Suzuki. He brings it back because they don't have a full line change yet. But Tampa readjusts their gap in the neutral zone and is sitting right on top of them at the blue.
Neutral zone face-off. Scrum for it off the draw. Suzuki gives it over to Slafkovsky in the attacking zone. Here's Hudson up high. Left side, Mike Matheson. Back to Hudson. He'll try his shot. That's deflected wide. Picked up by McDonough. Plays it ahead over Cam Atkinson, who's in today thanks to the late scratch of Nikita Kucherov. So Atkinson took the warm-up. The Lightning opted to dress that extra player and obviously decided after warm-up that Kucherov couldn't go. Lightning have it in behind their own net. Chernak and McDonough trying to move the puck around the boards. They do, but it kisses the protective netting. It's out of play.
So it's going to be an interesting way for John Cooper. Again, he's building pairs throughout his lineup. You look at Cirelli, Gensel together, Hagel, Point together. You're looking at Nick Paul and Esimon have played a lot together. And then it's building around that and then inserting a guy, a veteran player in Cam Atkinson, his first year with Tampa Bay. And that's how he's going to balance out his lines. In late periods, he's going to put the top six together.
Shot off the faceoff is stopped by Vasilevsky as the Habs move it around. Now from the line, Carrier's shot is blocked. Goes back to him at the point. So Carrier and Matheson together on the ice right now. As here goes Hagel down the wing. He's got Paul and Braden Point with him. The Habs break this up. Back to center. Matheson in left side. Back driving the net as Matheson's shot is stopped and held on to by Vasilevsky.
Yeah, I don't think we were expecting that already 2 minutes into the game. Matheson's played with Hudson and Carrier. And that last shift, including a whistle, Matheson was on for 1 minute and 47 seconds. So either they're looking for a spark out of him early, or again, it's just looking for offense early from this group.
Evans out there with Armia and Laine for the ozone face-off as it's taken away by Victor Hedman. Played over to Darren Radish. Now Savard and Jack-Eye, the pairing on the ice for Montreal. As Mitchell Chafee works it in far side for Tampa Bay. Glendening directed into the boards by Jack-Eye. Here's Dylan Duke playing in his second NHL game for Tampa Bay. As the Lightning move it around, Duke just scored in his NHL debut yesterday back in his home state of Michigan. First NHL game against Detroit. As Arbor Jack-Eye has it behind the net. Plays it up the wing. Yoel Armia to center for Patrick Laine. Skates in slowly down the left side. And he is pushed all the way back to center. There's going to be a penalty here.
What?
For holding. Is it Radish or is it Laine?
No, it's Laine.
They're saying it's Laine. Radish thought it might have been him. Or is it both?
Penalty hooking. 92, holding the stick.
It is both, hooking and holding the stick on either side. So just over 3 minutes into the first here, we're going to go 4-on-4.
I don't see a hook. Radish's stick is actually in a downward position, and then Laine does that chicken wing where he clamps down on Radish's left hand. But those are things where these are big men, right? Like sometimes when they get spun around, your sight line for the referees get blocked, but those are ones that they're going to review themselves and won't get fooled on twice in the same game.
So 4-on-4, neutral zone face-off. Canadiens control it. Shots 3-0 in the early going for Montreal. Here's Lane Hutson. In down the left side. Stops. Goes to the point for Struble. Now far side. Here goes Josh Anderson around the net. He's got Doc out in front. Feeds the point for Hutson. Lane Hutson. Passes down low for Doc. Back up high to Hutson. Chernak skating with him. As Hutson passes off to Doc. Now McDonough's up high for Tampa Bay. Here's Hutson again. Side of the net. Anderson shot that missed. And it rattles around the boards and out through center ice for Jayden Struble. Canadiens change. Minute 12 to go in 4-on-4. Matheson on the ice with Suzuki, Caulfield, and Alex Carrier. Here goes Suzuki right up the middle. Tries a shot. That goes wide. And Nick Perbix plays it around the boards as Victor Hedman gets over to it. Right back to Perbix. Short pass up the wing for Braden Point, streaking through center. Here goes Point down the wing. Hedman gets over to it. Right back to Perbix. Short pass up the wing for Braden Point, streaking through center. Here goes Point down the wing. Turns around from Carrier. Leaves it in the slot. Hedman. Stops in the corner. All the way up top. Hedman, bothered by Suzuki, keeps it in. Hedman down the left side now. Drops it back. Perbix wasn't ready for it. And it's going to go all the way down the ice with 27 seconds left in 4-on-4. Now Hagel. He'll start ahead with speed. Through center ice. Hagel crosses in over the line. Nick Paul tries to settle it down. Poked up to center, though, by Montreal. Lightning maintain possession. Ryan McDonough. Skates around in his own zone. Penalties are over. Laine and Radish return to the ice. We got 14:48 to go in the first. Tied at 0. Nick Paul right side. In the Montreal zone. Shielding the puck for Jayden Struble. Struble takes it to the boards. Paul tried to pass it out. It's picked off by Gallagher. And now Newhook runs down the wing. He's shoved to the boards by Radish. Now Zemgus Girgensons passes ahead. Radish at center. Moves it in off the boards. Savard will pick it up. Over to Jack-Eye. Forced through center ice. Right into the side of the net for Vasilevsky, who moves it around. Played up the wing by Lilleberg. Off the glass, it goes over and out.
Bit of a choppy start for Tampa and Montreal to that point. 4-on-4 seemed to open things up a little bit more for Montreal. They defended at 4-on-4 quite well, keeping guys like Hagel to forcing him to move pucks outwards, whereas Braden Point, they just kept him at the perimeter, on the perimeter as much as possible, and they didn't chase.
Face off to the glove hand side of Vasilevsky. Anthony Cirelli wins it for Tampa Bay. Owen Beck was in there to take it. He's got Dvorak and Brendan Gallagher out there with him. As Tampa Bay back into their own zone. McDonough sweeps it around the boards. It squeaks out past Savard to center ice. Now Gallagher in the neutral zone. Backhands it in off the glass. Owen Beck running after it. Gonsalves behind his own netminder. Moves it around. Goes back into the corner. Victor Hedman. He's held up. Lightning push it ahead. Cirelli gets it out to center. Habs right back on it. It's shot in by Savard. And it carries around for Hedman as the Canadiens change. Hedman behind his own net. Lightning don't have a shot yet in this game. We're tied at 0 with 13:18 to go in the first. Here goes Braden Point. Accelerating through center. Down the right side, Point has it knocked away. Slavkovsky, pass off the skate, turned over in front. Oh, what a move from Nick Paul in tight. And he goes top shelf on the backhand on Jakub Dobish. First shot of the game for Tampa Bay, and they've made it 1-0.
And Braden Point, Hagel, makes Slavkovsky really pay for that costly turnover. He tries to make a cute pass to Caulfield in tight, and if he places it in the neutral zone, Caulfield is gone. He overhandles it, and it hits Caulfield in the skate. Hagel steals it, and Nick Paul's momentum had led him all the way to the net. That's why we see him a lot of times goal line net front presence on the power play.
7 minutes into the first, 1-0 Lightning. That is a nice finish for Nick Paul on his 16th goal of the year. Lightning chip it in. Dobish out to play it behind his own net. Moves it around. Josh Anderson far side. He'll lift this out through center. Lightning go back for it. Darren Radish sets up behind his own net. Moving ahead through center. Here goes Glendening down the wing. Right around the boards it comes for Lilleberg. Across. Radish's shot is tipped. It goes wide. Chafee drops it back for Glendening. Back to the line. Radish slaps it wide. Almost ricocheted off the boards back in front, but it's quickly covered up by Jakub Dobish. And that'll bring us to our first timeout of the game. 1-0 Tampa Bay. Nick Paul on Tampa's first shot, assisted by Brandon Hagel, has it 1-0 Lightning on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Wow, you've got the latest model. Nice.
Oh, you should see it run.
Bell Pure Fiber?
Yep.
Sheesh, that's got power.
It's Canada's fastest and most trusted internet service.
Cool if I give it a test drive?
Promise you won't share the password?
Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $75 a month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. It's a quick 1-0 lead here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And this is not an ideal start, John, for the Montreal Canadiens, who continue to be outscored at home. Now 13-0. They're being outscored on home ice since they scored to open up the game against Winnipeg.
Yeah, and it puts them in a position where they feel like they're going to have to chase the game. And that's going to be a fine balance. That's going to be messaging from leaders and coaches is don't feel like you have to chase the game. Just win your next shift. Win the next 5-minute segment by being better with puck management.
Habs win the face-off in their own zone. Matheson gets it up the center. Back into the Tampa Bay zone it goes. To the corner. Picked up by Eric Chernak. Sent in behind Vasilevsky. Ryan McDonough tracks it down. He'll lob it to center. Glove down by Nick Paul. He's pushed off the puck by Matheson. Point goes after it along the end boards. Forces it up the wing, looking for Hedman. Point gets it back. Down low, Hagel wraps it around the boards. Perbix. Back behind Dobish. Brandon Hagel on it. Near side hash marks. Hagel held up by Alex Carrier. Puck is moved off the wall. Goes past Perbix and out through center ice as Hedman ranges back for it. Victor Hedman turns around. Canadiens complete a line change. Laine, Armia, and Owen Beck now on the ice. It's a bit of a different look here as Montreal go back into their own zone. Jack-Eye up the center, caught by Owen Beck. Steps in over the Tampa line. His pass intended for Joel Armia is intercepted by Zemgus Girgensons, and then Cam Atkinson comes ahead to center. Passing off to Eyssimont left side. Michael Eyssimont up the middle, drags the shot wide. Radish from the line, back down the wing. Eyssimont into the corner. Centering feed off the foot of Owen Beck. Canadians pick it up. Here's Patrick Laine. He can't cross in over the Tampa line. Cam Atkinson feeds it down the far side. Moved in by Eyssimont. And both teams change as Dobish leaves it behind the net for Jaden Struble. 10-10 to go in the first. 1-0 Tampa Bay. Shots 2-1 Montreal. Dvorak shoots it in. But comes around for Hedman. Out in front for Cirelli. Still losing the crease, and Gallagher almost put it home. A malfunction at the junction for Tampa Bay by their own net. As Montreal stay on the attack. Here's Gallagher near side. Passes across. Struble backing up. Tries to drift a shot through traffic. Got stopped in front. And Tampa Bay pushed it ahead out to center ice. Here goes Gonçalves. Feeds it out in front. Shot. Hedman scores. Victor Hedman left alone in front of Dobish. And it's 2 goals on 2 shots for Tampa Bay.
Montreal gets caught up ice. They won, and it was 3 literally poke check passes by Tampa. 1 to poke it by Lane Hudson at the blue line. 1 to poke it into a space at the red line. And then another one. And then next thing you know, 4-man rush. This was also after we just saw 3 brand new lines for the Montreal Canadiens. And this last trio was Slafkovsky with Gallagher and Dvorak. Laine was out with Armia and Beck. Evans was out with Caulfield and Suzuki.
And a rotten start here again for Montreal. Down 2 goals on 2 shots, just over halfway through the first period. Lightning carry back in over the line. Dylan Duke moves it in behind the Montreal net. Chafee plays it around to the line. Here's Lilleberg. Far side, swatted at. David Savard settles it down. Drifted off the boards to the near side. Newhook can't carry it out. Chafee turns it around. Back in behind the Habs net it comes from David Savard. Savard passes to the far side for Doc. Tried to feed it through center. Picked off by Chafee. Canadians get it back, and Arbor Jack-Eye shoots it in. Now Josh Anderson far side. Plays it to the corner. Newhook with it. Back to the line. Here's Carrier. His shot goes wide. Matheson back out in front. Newhook shot. That's off the mark at the glass. Now Lilleberg. Back behind the Tampa net. Shoved into the far side corner by Anderson. Loose puck now for Radish. Up to Nick Paul. Lost in his feet. He'll get it ahead though to Point. At center, Evans skates over to it. Picked up by Point. Hits it off his own man's foot. Now here go Montreal. Caulfield passes back. Suzuki with a shot. Still is in front. Caulfield can't put it past Lilleberg. Emil Lilleberg makes the save on the doorstep as Struble's got it at the line. Suzuki feeds it down low. Evans tried to center. Still loose in front. And Vasilevsky covers this up. 2 chaotic sequences in front for Montreal. Can't capitalize on either. And in the end, we'll go to break here with 7:44 to go in the first. It's still a lead for the Lightning. Now up 2-0 on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Are you looking for a damage insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance? There is only one name, Essor Insurance. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, Essor Insurance brokers are the perfect advisors for you. With more than 65 years experience, Essor Insurance is proud of its team of brokers who stand out for their ability to select the best products for your business. Call 833-370-2704 or visit essor.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
We all have the same goal, to be environmentally responsible. That's why Rio Tinto and the Montreal Canadiens are teaming up. We're replacing 1.5 million single-use plastic cups at the Bell Center with cups made with infinitely recyclable aluminum from Quebec. And the low-carbon aluminum we use for the cups is made by Rio Tinto right here in Quebec. It's a sustainability slapshot. To learn more, go to riotinto.com.
Looking to update your home decor? Start with MF Paints. For your kitchen, living room, bathroom, patio, you'll want to paint it all. MF Paints, 100% Canadian-made paints and stains, preferred by professionals and DIYers alike. Available throughout Quebec at your local retailer.
The home of your Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690.
Montreal, John, just a few moments ago, 2 golden chances on the doorstep with a loose puck that Vasilevsky thought he had. They just cannot seem to find a way to get one to go over the goal line right now.
And we're talking not like a wide open net. We're talking an inch from the goal line on 3 occasions, and it hit shin pads, skates. Not like a wide open net. We're talking an inch from the goal line on 3 occasions, and it hit shin pads, skates, and Vasilevsky was able to finally cover that thing up.
Due for a bounce. Gonna get one sooner or later here at home. As Montreal owes out face-off. Here's a shot from Struble. Blocker save made by Vasilevsky. Tampa Bay with Cirelli flipping it to center. Struble picks it up. Goes across for Nick Suzuki. Now he'll wrist it in. Gonçalves back deep in his own zone. Off the boards ahead. Cirelli moves it through center ice. Struble stepping up, pokes that to center. Canadians back the other way. Here's Nick Suzuki. Tried to make a move past Chernak. Sends it around the boards instead to the line. Carrier plays this one up and out. And just over the glass in the corner.
So it seems like Martin St. Louis will go with his line changes for a little bit longer here. Jake Evans playing with Caulfield and Suzuki, and they've had a bit of a spark ever since that change has been made. On defense, we've seen the D pairs go in a blender as well. On that last goal, it was Lane Hudson who kind of his feet stuck in mud a little bit, tries to pinch, and then he leaves Struble out for an odd man rush, and he gets exposed when he jumps outside dots.
Here's Hedman, played it off the boards, looking for Hagel. Goes back to Hedman. Quickly cross, Perbix up to center. Paul is pushed off the puck. Matheson carries in over the line. He's got Dvorak. Matheson for Dvorak. Can't swing that to the net. Back in front. Then another shot from Gallagher is blocked. Now here's Matheson left side. Tries to throw this one through traffic. Another bounce in front of Slavkovsky. Tries to center it to the line. Good keeping by Matheson. Down low, Dvorak. To the line, Matheson. Partial slap shot. Steered away by Vasilevsky. So Gallagher out with Dvorak and Slavkovsky right now is through center. That's going to go all the way for an icing. With 6:03 to go in the first period. 2-0 lead for Tampa Bay.
And there's been a bit of a spark from some here. Matheson has 3 shots on net, or 2 at least hit the net. Another shot attempt. Odd man rush situation, which he creates just outside the offensive blue line. Tries to feed Dvorak. Tampa gets a stick on it. You can tell that there are guys that want to give more. It just hasn't paid off just yet.
Lightning win the D-zone face-off. Hedman passes ahead to center. Brandon Hagel carries in over the Montreal line. Tried to go across with the pass. It's picked off by Jack-Eye. Battle for it along the near side boards. Jack-Eye picks it up. Tries to get it out. He does. Right past Chernak. Now picked up by Nick Suzuki. Backhands it wide of the net. Lightning have it deep in their own zone. Girgensons ahead for Atkinson. Swept off the boards through center. Now David Savard in his own zone. Is Jack-Eye and Chernak going at it a little bit here at center ice. Now the Canadians skate in. Here goes Suzuki. Poked by Chernak. Bit of a weird one coming in on Vasilevsky that he turns aside. Now to the line. Jack-Eye's shot. That's deflected wide. Suzuki stripped to the puck by McDonough, and he'll flip it out through center. This puck will not have enough for icing. 5 minutes to go in the first. Savard picks it up. Off the Jack-Eye. Cross ice through center. Dylan Duke picks it up for the Lightning. And Tampa Bay send that through the neutral zone again. Laine in his own zone. Back to Struble. Carrier up the wing. Canadiens with speed through center. Back off to Laine. Back through the middle for Carrier. He can't collect it in time for the shot. Now Chaffee off the boards to center. Duke and Glendening both get to it, and then they hit Carrier in the face of the puck. And he goes down in a pile by the Montreal line.
Oh, right in the mouth.
But he's back up here. Well, at least partially. He's leaking, though, for sure. And Alex Carrier is going to need some attention here. Looks like he's going to go back down the tunnel. 4:24 to go in the first. Not getting any better here for Montreal. We're back in a moment on Habs Hockey at TSN 690.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Wow, you've got the latest model. Nice.
Oh, you should see it run.
Bell Pure Fiber?
Yep.
Sheesh, that's got power.
It's Canada's fastest and most trusted internet service.
Cool if I give it a test drive?
Promise you won't share the password?
Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $75 a month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center here as Alex Carrier has gone down the tunnel, John. That's going to give Montreal 5 defensemen to work with here for the time being.
Which means more for Mike Matheson because at this point he's played 651. We've seen him play a full shift on, I think, 3 occasions. A full shift, a whistle comes in, they give him a new D partner, tell him to stay out. I believe approximately 3 shifts this period have been over a minute and 30 seconds because D partner tell him to stay out. I believe approximately 3 shifts this period have been over a minute and 30 seconds because of the way they're reconfiguring the D pairs today.
Martin St. Louis has been juggling the lines, and that's going to continue to be the case here.
Except for the Kirby Doc.
Yeah. Except for the line that's out there right now. Doc to take the face-off. He wins it back. He's still got Anderson and Newhook as the wingers. As Tampa Bay pick it up at center ice. Gensel left side. He shoots it in. Tampa only have 2 shots this period. They haven't looked that dangerous, but they've scored on both of them. And as a result, they lead 2-0. As Victor Hedman is back into his own end with the puck. Oh. And look out, he plays right into the Tampa Bay bench. Looks like everyone's all right.
Well, he knows he's got to face John Cooper in just a couple days, and he was just sending him a message. That went right at John Cooper's head. But, there's one thing that Tampa's done really well this game is very similar to the situation Slavkovsky was in. Live to fight another day. Just put the puck in the neutral zone, force Montreal to reload. They've been doing it continuously this entire period.
Face off to the glove side of Andrei Vasilevsky. Canadiens win it back. Newhook tries a shot, but he can't get that through the defense. Back up to center for Tampa Bay. It's pushed in by Gensel. Chasing after it. Lane Hudson gets there. And he'll throw this out to center. It's a breakaway for Anderson, but it's off the pad of Vasilevsky. Back out in front. Anderson, another shot. That's stopped. And Vasilevsky covers up for the faceoff.
But they're giving a penalty shot.
Oh, wow, that's a late call. But it is going to be a penalty shot, John.
But it looks like it was offside. So can they challenge? I don't think so.
Montreal, hooking from behind on the breakaway.
So for the second game in a row, we're going to see a penalty shot for Montreal.
Could they challenge if he scores on the penalty shot?
I got no idea, John.
Watch. Oh.
That's a great question, John. And Vasilevsky up the middle, and he puts it wide of the net.
Moot point.
I guess we'll never know.
I still want to know that, because if the offside affected the penalty shot call and it would have gone in, how can you not challenge that?
.341 to go in the first. I'm going to do some digging, John. Let's see what I can find for you.
You got the first intermission off.
Not anymore.
Instead of getting your steps in.
Nose deep in the rule book. 3:41 to go in the period. Shots are 12-2 now, Montreal. The score is 2-0 for Tampa Bay. Lightning win the D-zone faceoff. Nick Paul up to center. Curls it ahead off the boards for Hagel. Play deep into the Montreal zone. Matheson moves this around, far corner. Suzuki back behind the net. Now far side wing, off the boards. Evans down low again for Hudson. They'll play this around. It's picked off by Eric Chernak. Now back up the near side boards. Tampa Bay skate out to center. Play back for Vasilevsky. Look out, Suzuki was bearing down, and Vasilevsky had to cover that in a hurry.
I don't think, as much as McDonough was looking over his left shoulder, what's available, he did not sense Suzuki being that close as he gave it back to Vasilevsky, who's more than comfortable than playing the puck.
Montreal, ozone face-off. One back to the line for Jackeye. He tries a shot. That wrister's caught by Vasilevsky. Jackeye coming off an afternoon yesterday where he had a season-high 6 shots in a single game against the Devils.
Yeah, he was gripping and ripping all kinds of shots, one-timers, stopping it and then loading up the slap shot, wrist shots. It's something that he has to do because it's not just part of his abilities, but his instincts allow him to rip it and stop questioning himself and thinking he's got to make an extra pass. Just absolute create a ton of chaos by just blasting pucks through people.
Canadiens off the face-off, delayed penalty upcoming here. It's going to be to Tampa Bay as it's touched by Darren Radish, and the Canadiens are going to get a power play with 2:56 to go in the first.
Tampa number 43, minor penalty, high sticking.
So the power play for Montreal is brought to you by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
John Cooper called over the referees. I think he believes that there was no high sticking on this. He misses him. He completely missed him. His stick went right by his visor, and John Cooper isn't letting it go right here. And he's not this demonstrative unless he has an argument, and that's the lawyer in John Cooper coming out.
Lightning win the D-zone face-off. First power play advantage of the afternoon. The Habs were 0 for 2 yesterday against New Jersey. Here's Hudson back into his own zone. Feeds it ahead. Nick Suzuki carries through center. Drops it back for Hudson. Over the line. Nice move past Cirelli. He'll set it up here for Montreal. Hudson over to Suzuki. Left side line. Juggles the puck. Chernak right on him. Strips it. Throws it down the ice. Now Dobich. He'll fire it to center. Slavkovsky has it. Pressured along the near side boards. Comes back in behind the net for Vasilevsky. Now Glendening shoots it off the boards and out. And the first unit starts to head off for Montreal. Still a minute 12 to go on the power play. Here's Lane Hudson dropping off. Alex Newhook picks it up. Newhook over the line with Doc. Throws the pass into his feet. Girgensons tries to dig it off the boards. Now he's tied up. He's just trying to kill some time here. Doc, Newhook, and Dvorak all trying to fish the puck free. Finally comes out for Doc. Back to the line. Here's Gallagher. Skates it down far side wing. He's wrapped up by Victor Hedman. Pushed off the puck. Hedman gives it away to Matheson. Matheson back down the right side. Gallagher down low for Newhook. He's followed by Hedman up the wing. Dishes off near side. Doc. Back for Matheson. His pass goes off the foot of Girgensons. It's directed to center. Newhook skates it right back in. Newhook takes a bump from a gun and they score! Newhook dropped it for Brendan Gallagher. And it's a power play goal for Montreal late in the first period to finally break the shutout streak and make it a 2-1 game.
And this is all Newhook. We've been talking about it on the air, off the air. Alex Newhook has been really consistent with and without the puck in all facets of the game. He's got a ton of confidence, and that's a confident play on that zone entry to set up Gallagher, but also back off the defenders to give Gallagher a little bit of space.
That's the 5th power play goal this season for Brendan Gallagher. Montreal into the offensive zone. Have to go back to center. Here goes Braden Point down the right side. Point circles the net. Tried to center for Hagel. That's broken up by Montreal. Gallagher's 13th of the year. And as Montreal chase it back down in their own zone, there's going to be a penalty here to the Habs with 37 seconds left. And that's going to send the Lightning to the man advantage late in the first. Interference call on the Habs. The penalty kill is presented by Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the moment, control the temperature in any room at any time.
And this will be a much different looking power play when a guy like Kucherov, who is the quarterback from the half wall, isn't available.
The Gallagher goal, by the way, assist to Alex Newhook and Mike Matheson, who's in the box right now for Montreal. Habs clear it. Vasilevsky moves it around. 25 seconds to play in the first period. Lightning with Brandon Hagel. Got Cirelli, Gensel, Hedman, and Point all out there on the power play. Cirelli right side. Skates it in down low. Back up top, Hedman. With a hard drive from the line. That's stopped by Dobish. And it's clearly underneath him here in the crease as the whistle sounds. Hagel gets into it with Savard. And a crowd draws here at the side of the net.
And this all happens because Dobish has it. We can even hear with our headset. There's something yelled to him, and he thinks that he's got the puck behind him, and he flops backwards. And as he flops backwards onto his backside, it almost kicks the puck available, and that's why Tampa comes in, rushing that crease.
Just 3.5 seconds left here for Tampa Bay to try and draw something up off the faceoff, so they bring their best faceoff man out there, Luke Glendening, who otherwise wouldn't see power play time. He'll take this draw against Christian Dvorak. Glendening wins it, and one last shot from Radish. That's a muffin. Easy save for Dobish. And that's going to finish us off here in the first period. But Tampa Bay will take that man advantage in 1:23 of it into the second.
Yeah, that last scramble actually happens. When I saw the replay, it's actually Jackeye that kind of stumbles backwards and bumps into Dobish. And Jackeye still at the end of the period, he wants to display his physical presence out there, and he's hacking and whacking guys. Montreal, though they outshoot Tampa, they need cleaner breakouts, cleaner transition if they're going to really come back in this game.
Well, after one period of play, it's a 2-1 lead for Tampa Bay. Nick Paul, Victor Hedman, and then Brendan Gallagher on the power play from Newhook and Matheson. His 13th of the year for Montreal. Still has them in striking distance today As we'll step aside, the first intermission show is coming up next on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Campbell versus Gallo. Two Montrealers giving you everything you'd want in a local sports radio show. Sports? Check. Opinions and batter? Check. Knowledgeable insiders? Check. Local sports radio show. Sports? Check. Opinions and batter? Check. Knowledgeable insiders? Check. Check. Homemade sound effects? Check. Campbell versus Gallo. Together. Weekdays from 10 till 2 on TSN 690.
IGA, we love the Habs. IGA, we got food to grab. IGA, we've got nachos for all your hockey heroes. When you're on the couch and they're on the ice, we got all the food that's nice. We got your T-bone steak with spice and pizza for game night. No matter the season, IGA is proud to be the official grocer of the Montreal Canadiens. From our 300 merchants and co-ops to our employees, each and every one of us has epic Habs love.
Get ready for a night out like no other. Where the Party At Tour, starring Nelly and the St. Lunatics, Ja Rule.
To everybody that be living it up, we said,
Chingy.
I like the way you do that right there, right there.
And special guests. Taking over Bell Center on April 15th. Grab your tickets now at eventco.ca. Nelly and the St. Lunatics, Ja Rule, Chingy, and special guests bringing the party live.
Habs fans, get ready for Molson Fanatic Saturdays, the biggest party in town every Saturday night home game. Start your night at Les Trois Monkeys at Les Cours Mont-Royal at 4 p.m. with Canadiens-themed games, a chance to win game tickets, and even shoot on the Bell Center ice. Head to the game for exclusive in-arena activations and prizes. After the final buzzer, the party continues at Les Trois Monkeys. Meet Canadiens alumni and score a $15 arcade voucher. Molson Fanatic Saturdays, the ultimate hockey fan experience.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
Are you looking for an insurance broker, passionate and professional? With 65 years of experience, SO Insurance has proven to be totally dedicated to serving its clients. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, their brokers have one priority: to find you the best offer available to insure your home, car, and all other types of motorized vehicles. Call 833-370-2704 or visit SOR.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Book an appointment now at a La Pointe Dental Center to take advantage of the treatment solutions and improve the appearance of your smile. 0% financing for 24 months is available. Call 1-800-LaPointe or visit centrelapointe.com for more details and financing conditions.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Move from Nick Paul in tight. And he goes top shelf on the backhand on Jakub Dobiš. First shot of the game for Tampa Bay, and they've made it 1-0. Struble backing up, tries to drift a shot through traffic. Got stopped in front. And Tampa Bay pushed it ahead out to center ice. Here goes Gonçalves. Feeds it out in front. Shot, Hedman scores. Victor Hedman left alone in front of Dobiš. And it's 2 goals on 2 shots for Tampa Bay. Picked up by Point. Hits it off his own man's foot. Now here go Montreal. Caulfield passes back. Suzuki with a shot. Still is in front. Caulfield can't put it past Lilleberg. Emil feeds it down low. Evans tried to center. Still loose in front. And Vasilevsky covers this up. 2 chaotic sequences in front for Montreal. We might get an answer to it here depending on the result of this shot. Josh Anderson to try and break the home shutout from center ice, one-on-one with Vasilevsky up the middle, and he puts it wide of the net. Good point. Newhook skates it right back in. Newhook takes a bump from McDonald, they score! Newhook dropped it for Brendan Gallagher. And And it's a power play goal for Montreal late in the first period to finally break the shutout streak and make it a 2-1 game. Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. I'm Mitch Gell with Lucas Scott. After one period of play, the Tampa Bay Lightning lead the Montreal Canadiens by a score of 2-1. That was an eventful first period, was it not? Let's get you your scoring summary from the period. As the Lightning get on the board at 6:56, Nick Paul, his 16th from Brandon Hagel. 10:28, Victor Hedman scores his 8th with Gage Gonçalves and Anthony Cirelli getting assists, and then it's 18:53. Brendan Gallagher power play goal, Alex Newhook and Mike Matheson with the assists. It is time for the first intermission roundtable. Gallo with Lucas Scott, and we have the coach John Goyens with us. John, why don't we start with the new combinations up front to the lines? What do you make of what Martin St. Louis and the coaching staff did there in the first period?
Well, we talked about it not off air, in the postgame yesterday. Thought that we might see a start with new lines, and it really took, a matter of, basically Slafkovsky turning over that puck on the Nick Paul goal for all the lines except for the Kirby Dach, Newhook, Anderson line to be changed. And it looked like maybe Slafkovsky was going to get sat for a little bit. Instead, it was Jake Evans goes up, so from center to wing, to go with Suzuki and Caulfield. It was Slafkovsky going down with Dvorak and Gallagher. And then all of a sudden you got Beck playing center with Armia and Laine. So, there seemed to be a bit of a spark. It's a 2-1 score. I get the shot clock and all that type of stuff. The power play goal should have never happened. I watched the replay 3 times. The stick never touches Dvorak, and it goes beside his face, and now he grabs his mouth. Now they score, and good for them, and they're up 2-1. Now I'm getting off topic, but the lines it was necessary, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see changes happen again if they don't play well consistently.
Okay, can I ask you the one thing I don't understand? Why didn't they start the game with those lines? Why wait 5 minutes into the game?
Why have a expiration date?
The expiration date was 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I understand doing it in a third period, but to wait 5 minutes and then do it, I don't get it.
Listen, the night before your milk is about to spoil and you're going to have cookies and milk, and tomorrow morning you need coffee and you're going to have milk, are you going to say, let me see about this expiration date, or are you going to go get new milk? It's just, I don't get it. I don't get why the 5 minutes. Why did it take 5 minutes to change 3 lines? I don't.
Okay, so you're with me. You don't understand either.
No.
Something else I know that you were looking at was ice time, specifically Matheson and his average length of shift.
Yeah, he's averaging 105, and some people will be like, well, he should get off. Well, in fact, he's played 3 or 4 shifts where he played an entire shift with one D partner. A whistle goes. There's an offensive zone faceoff, and then he just continues with a new D partner, which means Struble playing with Carrier hasn't been consistent. Hudson with Matheson hasn't been consistent. In fact, Hudson and Struble were on together for that Hedman goal. We've seen Jack-Eye with Matheson. I don't know. Everybody screams for chemistry. We hear it talked about often in interviews. I feel that has been in flux since the beginning of the game. Just maybe try to keep your pairs together longer, and hopefully the damage that puck caused to Alex Carrier's face isn't permanent in terms of keeping him out of the rest of the game.
Yep.
And it's just a couple zippers on his chin.
And one from Luca here.
John, I wanted to go to Alex Newhook, and you mentioned him after the power play goal in which he was able to set up Brendan Gallagher. But what has changed for Alex Newhook as of late? Because he seems to have a little bit more pep in his step than he did early on in the season.
Yeah, the thing is you could be a quick player, and at times you skate so fast you're skating to nowhere. You're getting places early for no reason at times. he is managing the different gears that he has. Instead of driving like a NASCAR driver super fast in circles, he's maneuvering in and out of certain turns, slowing down, picking up pace, and he's attacking the interior like crazy, looking to set up other players. But when in doubt, he just makes high percentage plays with the puck, and he doesn't take a shift off when it comes to back checking or supporting defensively. He's just been really consistent, and I think a lot of that just comes back to play with your instincts, and then the instincts extract the best out of your talent.
All in all, though, I didn't find it was a terrible period for the Canadiens, despite a couple lapses and mistakes. I mean, this could easily be a 2-2 game if, you're right about the power play, and it's, like Christian Dvorak was not high stick, but I mean, you have a defenseman making a save for the goalie here.
The crease chaos that we saw here. It wasn't a terrible period by any means, but it also seemed like that first goal was a little deflating. Yeah. And then the second goal was a little more deflating, and that's the stuff they got to get over themselves with. It's just, and one of the things I mentioned in that period, learn from from Tampa Bay here. At times, you got to live to fight another day. And that goal by where Slafkovsky turns it over, it's not the only time. You don't have a clean exit, get that puck into the neutral zone. Get it into the neutral zone, everybody resets, and then and you'll be fine.
It's funny you say that, because on the very next shift, maybe it was 2 shifts after, Josh Anderson was in the same position twice on the shift, and both times he did exactly what you're saying. He just flipped down to the neutral zone rather than trying to force a short pass in a crowded area.
Yeah, absolutely. Just play the high percentages, and that's what they got to get back to doing.
That's the coach of John Goyens. I'm Mitch Gill. John's back with the second period of play. I'll be back with your out-of-town scoreboard. Here at the Bell Center, the Tampa Bay Lightning lead the Canadiens 2-1 after 1 on TSN 690.
Wow, you've got the latest model. Nice.
Oh, you should see it run.
Bell Pure Fiber?
Yep.
Sheesh, that's got power.
It's Canada's fastest and most trusted internet service.
Cool if I give it a test drive?
Promise you won't share the password?
Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $75 a month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
You're listening to the home of sports in Montreal. TSN 690, CKGM, and iHeart Radio Station.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Delmar, a globally integrated, technology-focused logistics solution provider, backed by 60 years of expertise. Experience the power of bringing simplicity to your supply chain with Delmar. Visit delmarcargo.com. Delmar, logistics made simple.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
Looking to update your home decor? Start with MF Paints. For your kitchen, living room, bathroom, patio, you'll want to paint it all. MF Paints, 100% Canadian-made paints and stains, preferred by professionals and DIYers alike. Available throughout Quebec at your local retailer.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Keller, a little bit of room out high, and a shot and a goal. Dylan Gunther, top corner. Power play goal. And Utah's doubled up Washington.
Welcome back to the Bell Center. That's where we stand on your out-of-town scoreboard. Only one other game on this Super Bowl Sunday. The Utah Hockey Club lead the Washington Capitals 4-2. And that was Gunther's 20th of the season. Carsoni, McBain, and Doan have also scored for Utah. The 2 goals for the Washington Capitals scored by Pierre-Luc Dubois, who has 13 on the season, and Tom Wilson who has 23. Coming up next year on TSN 690, the second period between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. Victor Finley and John Goyens with the call as the Lightning lead the Canadiens 2-1.
$1 wings, $1 wings, $1 wings. Boston Pizza has the ultimate lineup. During every Montreal game this season, our wings are only $1 each at Boston Pizza. Come in for some delicious wings, an ice-cold Molson, and a great game. Now that's a winning trio. Visit bostonpizza.com to find a Boston Pizza near you and reserve your table. Boston Pizza is the place to be. See details in restaurant.
Are you looking for a damage insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance? There is only one name, SR Insurance. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, SR Insurance brokers are the perfect advisors for you. With more than 65 years experience, SR Insurance is proud of its team of brokers who stand out for their ability to select the best products for your business. Call 833-370-2704 or visit sr.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite pho shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Export, Ultra, XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee, made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. We're about half a minute away from puck drop in the second period of play between Montreal and Tampa Bay. It's a 2-1 lead for the Lightning after 20, and Tampa Bay will have a minute 23 to work with on the power play here now at the outset of the second period. Victor Finley in the broadcast booth, joined alongside by John Goyens as we get ready to drop the puck at center ice. Alex Carrier is back out there, John. Looks like they got the gauze, maybe a couple stitches. He's got a pretty good-looking cut there on the right side of his chin.
Yeah, he's definitely got a few zippers in there, but that doesn't usually keep a guy out unless there's something structurally wrong or they fear that it could have caused a concussion. So that's going to help them big time on the PK, especially with Matheson in the box.
Center ice face-off is won back by Dvorak, and Montreal laser it right down the ice. And in fact, it goes out of play here to start us off in the third period. That went off the glass. Referees are having a quick conversation about this. If it didn't go off the glass, that would be considered delay a game.
100%.
Because it came on Montreal's side of center.
It's a penalty.
They're going to call this.
Yep.
And Carrier can't believe it.
Montreal number 45, monitor penalty, delay of game. Shooting the puck over the glass.
I thought it might have got off the glass first, John, but apparently not, according to the officials.
Another discussion. Wait for it.
Now all four of them get involved at center ice. All right, here's the call. I think they're going to wash it, John.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're going to have a look at it. No, they're just letting the scores table know what the call is here, which is probably no call.
It was ruled that the puck was tipped on his way out, therefore there is no penalty.
There we go. Was Eric Furlad with the call? We can kind of read some body language there, John.
He was not too happy. He had to go to the microphone twice there.
So the faceoff comes into the Montreal zone. Glove hand side on Dobish. Lightning win it back. Here's Victor Hedman. Off to Cirelli, right side. Down low, Gensel. Back to Cirelli. Gensel down low. Centers out in front for Hagel. And Dobish on the doorstep makes the save. Lightning bring it back to the line. Hedman shot. That's blocked in front. Savard can't get it out. Now here's Braden Point. Cruising around at the line. Cirelli back to the point. Hedman over to Point. Skates down the wing. Now back down low to the goal line. Back to Point. Gensel. Back across. Cirelli to Hedman. Wrister. That goes wide. And Hedman back to the line. Back in front. And Point puts it in and he scores. As Dobish was down and out. He just slipped and had no chance to make that save. And it's a power play goal to put Tampa Bay up 3-1.
This is a hell of a pass by Victor Hedman. What he does is from midpoint, he bypasses all the flanks, and he goes right down to Gensel on the goal line, who then, it looks like he's tagging the bumper, and the puck just travels all the way across to Braden Point, wide open, coming back door on the from the weak side flank.
I think Montebo's coming in, John. He's down the tunnel right now.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
sir. That's it for Jakub Dobish. 3 goals on 8 shots. And Montebo jumps over the boards for Montreal. $18:55 to go in the second. An early power play goal for Tampa Bay has made it 3-1 Lightning. And back to center ice we go. Suzuki facing off. Loses the draw here to Nick Paul. It's Suzuki, Caulfield, and Evans. Martin St. Louis looks to be sticking with those line combos that he experimented with in the first. As Tampa Bay right back up the middle. There's a quick shot. And it's caught by Montebo, and a good look for Gage Gonsalves. The first save of the afternoon is made by Montebo.
Yeah, definitely after you pull your goalie and the new guy comes in, you don't want to give up 2 opportunities right on the doorstep like that. They're going to have to really not be worried about the score and just start playing with a little bit more swagger and urgency.
Montreal win the face-off back. And play it up to center ice. In it goes. That's going to go all the way for an icing here. 1:30 into the start of the second period.
Yeah, and that last opportunity for Tampa, it comes Lane Hudson engages with his player on the first post below the goal line, but Jackeye leaves net front on the weak side post, and he goes below goal line. Again, it's just that understanding who's more dangerous, chasing guys behind the net or picking up sticks in front of the net.
Face off in the Montreal zone. Lightning line up with Gage Gonsalves, Nick Paul, and Michael Eyssimont. And the linesman here saw something he didn't like. So Gonsalves gets tossed. Nick Paul goes back in.
No, basically they said Nick Paul shouldn't have been tossed.
Well, it's a good thing we got that right because Montreal won the faceoff as it goes back behind the net. Lane Hudson plays it around the boards. Goes back in behind the net. Hudson in the corner. Picked up by Nick Suzuki. Up to center ice. Caulfield fires it over to Evans. Knocked off his stick. This is going to be gloved down by a hand pass for another whistle.
And this is a really good couple of shifts, or first shift actually, since they scored on the power play for Tampa. They get guys that, you know, some of our listeners are not as familiar with, and they just get in on the forecheck with Nick Paul, Eyssimont, and Gonsalves, and they just get in, and they're making it difficult for Montreal to have any type of clean break.
Lightning win the center ice face-off back. And another hand pass. Two in about 10 seconds.
And Nick Perbix forced that pass up the wall. Slavkovsky sitting right at the blue line and then just whacks it out into the neutral zone.
That should have been Mitch's bold prediction today. You get 2 hand passes in 10 seconds of one another. Face off to the blocker side of Andrei Vasilevsky. Dvorak in to take it for Montreal. Wins it off in the wing. Slavkovsky battles with Perbix. Lightning pick it up. It's played around the boards by Hedman. Struble holds it in at the line. Gallagher sweeps it right back around. It's chopped out through center by Tampa Bay. And Sam Montembeault out at the side of the net, moves it over. Gallagher gives it away to Chaffee. Wrister, good glove save from Sam Montembeault. The crowd draws in front here. Savard plays bodyguard here for his netminder.
Yeah, and it starts with Dylan Duke. He goes out of his way to finish his hit on Jaden Struble and then follows him to the net. Dylan Duke, not the biggest guy out there, but he hasn't been shy to finish a couple of hits here on the Montreal Canadiens defensemen, specifically Jackeye and Struble.
And Dylan Duke, originally born in Ohio, but grew up in Michigan, playing minor hockey with the Bell Tire and CompuWare programs, and went to the University of Michigan after a couple years with the United States National Team Development Program. His teammates there with Lane Hudson as the Habs move it into the Tampa Bay zone. Here's Patrick Laine, far side to the point. Struble, one-time shot. That goes off of Vasilevsky. And back out in front, Habs looking for a wraparound. It goes into the far corner. Laine's dumped by Darren Radish. And Tampa Bay skate to center as they shoot it in. Here's Owen Beck. His pass goes off a body in front, but Zemgus Girgensons had lost his footing, or else he would have had a nice look in the slot for the Lightning. Instead, Darren Radish around his own zone. He's rattled into the boards by Laine. And a loose puck at center ice is picked up by Montreal. Backhanded in by Matheson. Bounces right to Vasilevsky, and he freezes it with Newhook on the doorstep.
Tampa will be able to...
Backhanded in by Matheson. Bounces right to Vasilevsky, and he freezes it with Newhook on the doorstep.
Tampa will be able to change because it was on the offensive side of the red line. The jersey you don't see too often in the stands was a Halifax Mooseheads jersey with a Memorial Cup crest on the left side.
Would have been 2019. Near the Rouyn-Noranda Huskies, led by Raphael Harvey-Pinard, won the Memorial Cup.
We didn't set that up, folks. Or it might have been the winning one with McKinnon, Drouin.
It also could have been that.
Uyghur.
Here goes Gonsalves down the far side. Wasn't Ehlers part of that team too? Was he later?
Who?
Nick Ehlers.
No.
I think it was the year after.
Fucali.
Here's Hedman with a shot. That's picked off by Kirby Dach. And here goes Anderson looking for another breakaway as he tried to switch to the backhand. It was off the pad of Vasilevsky, and it goes out to center. Lightning carried in. Taken away by Montreal. Here goes Anderson again. Partial break left side. Low shot. Kick save by Vasilevsky. Nobody's had more breakaway looks than Josh Anderson has in the last couple games, John. He's had a penalty shot today as well on top of all of those.
Yeah, and this last one just came from an aerial pass. I mean, that's the thing. Stop fooling around with it inside your blue line. You don't have a direct pass. Use the walls. Go to the air. And then especially when they have Anderson on, for example, or Newhook, you're going to beat most teams up the ice with that kind of speed.
Face off to the blocker side of Vasilevsky. Tampa Bay win the draw. Chernak ahead to center. Good feed for Braden Point. He'll follow it into the near corner. Hagel back to the line. McDonough can't hold it. Comes back across. Point. Taken away by Evans. Up to center. Filters it over to Nick Suzuki. Now Caulfield snaps it wide of the net. Hudson throws it back down low. McDonough. Up for Hagel. Knocked away by Caulfield. Evans goes after it. Taken away by Tampa Bay. To center, Hagel. That's pushed back down the ice by Hudson. He got it to Nick Suzuki to bring it back in over the line. Nick Paul to the attacking zone. Littleberg tosses it around. to the line. Darren Radish with a shot. That goes wide. Now back out through center. Radish in a foot race for it. Takes a hit from Dvorak as the puck goes around. Slavkovsky slaps it to the corner. Back up to the line. Carrier's shot goes wide of the mark. And it's quickly smothered at the side of the net by Andrei Vasilevsky.
Couple fast breaks here. Tampa gets a little cute at the blue line, offensive blue line. Montreal's able to transition the other way. Little surprise Suzuki didn't look to make that pass to Slavkovsky driving that back post as Tampa was back checking because it was really clearly a 2-on-1 at that point, or at least shoot it. This is where they're going to pass up opportunities to create by overpassing, passing potentially to the wrong player. Sometimes you just got to keep it, and especially a guy like Nick Suzuki, I'm paying you to score goals and not necessarily look for always that extra pass. I'm not paying him personally, but it wouldn't be very much. I don't have that kind of dough.
Montreal off the face-off. Here's a quick shot from Alex Carrier. Blocker save made by Andrei Vasilevsky. Not yet anyways, John. As it comes out through center ice, unless you're not telling us about some of those offshore bank accounts. Montreal through center. Tipped in behind the Tampa Bay net. Here's Vasilevsky. Over to Victor Hedman. Back up through center. Tipped in by Chafee. He wasn't on the right side of center ice, though, and that's going to be an icing with 13:57 to go in the second period.
And right away, it's Newhook's line right over. They want the face-off on the left side, so we'll see most likely Newhook take this draw. You got inverted D, so you're looking for Savard. Win it to Savard. Set up Jack-Eye for a one-timer.
3-1 the score for Tampa Bay. Lightning win the D-zone face-off. Hedman throws it around. Right past Duke, out through center. Jack-Eye tracks it down. Back up off the boards, looking for Doc. Stolen away by Tampa Bay. Here's a shot for Burbix. That hits a body in front. Back to the line, held in by Hedman. Taken by Anderson. Hedman steals it right back, then gives it to David Savard. He'll launch it to center. Here goes Anderson again. Would have had another breakaway, but this one gets whistled back for offside. And this time it's going to send us to a commercial break. 13:27 to go in the second period today on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Wow, you've got the latest model. Nice.
Oh, you should see it run.
Bell Pure Fiber?
Yep.
Sheesh, that's got power.
It's Canada's fastest and most trusted internet service.
Cool if I give it a test drive?
Promise you won't share the password?
Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $75 a month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell.
Anything like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
The home of your Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690.
3-1 Tampa Bay at the Bell Center with 13:27 left to play in the second period. Shots 19-11 in favor of Montreal. As the Habs have made a goalie change, John, for the first time in his career. Jakub Dobiš gets pulled after allowing 3 goals on 8 shots today.
And not something we've seen very often this year. How many times have we seen a goalie pulled this year? Once? Before?
Oh, no, Montembeault got pulled a couple times. The Rangers loss. And then the Pittsburgh game that saw Primo come in relief. The last game that Primo was in Montreal. I don't think we've seen a netminder pulled since that game.
Right, so a couple months.
No, that was December 12th, so we're almost at the 2-month mark of that. Face-off coming up here to the blocker side of Sam Montembeault. Jurgensen's going to take the face-off for Tampa Bay, and he wins it back. Eyssimont tied up with Kirby Dach. Comes out loose in front. Back in there for Jurgensen, and he scores. His first of the year. First as a Tampa Bay Lightning. Zemgus Girgensons makes it 4-1.
Yeah, unfortunately here, Jack-Eye loses track of Girgensons, and instead of getting inside position or getting under the stick, he tried to hog tie him around the waist. And Girgenson's a big, strong guy, veteran player for a long time in this league, and leans inside and is able to still get a stick on it, tap it in while being hooked.
That breaks quite a drought for Zemgus Girgensons. As Tampa Bay go right back on the attack. Here's Asimont behind the net. Passes off to the line for Chernak. Now Tampa Bay cycle it down low. Asimont to the point. Girgensons, first goal in 58 games for him.
Which means it's his first with Tampa Bay.
55th game this afternoon as a member of the Lightning. Signed a 3-year deal in the offseason. Last goal was February 4th of 2024 against Washington. With Buffalo at the time, so it's been over a calendar year between goals for Zemgus Girgensons. Lightning in their own zone. Back behind the net, Ryan McDonough moves this around. Carrier picks it off. Down the wing, Cole Caulfield past Girgensons, tries to center side of the net, settled down by Chernak. Now Jake Gensel up to center ice. He's shut down along the boards by Carrier. Gallagher back the other way, tried to center. That's broken up in front of the net by Emil Lilleberg. Back in the Tampa Bay zone, Gensel is overwhelmed. Slavkovsky picks it loose. That Gallagher fans on the shot. Lightning back in the corner with it. Lilleberg pressured by Dvorak. Gensel passes ahead for Gonçalves. Now out through center. Here goes Darren Radish. Good pass over for Gensel. Low shot is stopped by Montembeault. Now Gallagher to the neutral zone. In over the blue line. Passes off. Here goes Slavkovsky. Centers. And Dvorak tries to put the rebound home. But it goes back to the line. It's juggled out to center by Lane Hudson. Now Slavkovsky siphons it into the attacking zone. Darren Radish from behind the net. Passes off. Cirelli. Cross-ice feed. Hudson got a stick on it as it comes back behind the net for Montembeault. Now picked up by Jaden Struble. Pass down the right wing. Missed the mark. Lightning move it back around. Up the far side. Pinching in Struble. Can't make much of a play on it. Tampa Bay send it to center ice again. Here's Owen Beck. He'll draw that back to his own zone for Struble. Snapping ahead to Line A. Line A in over the line to the far side wing. His pass is intercepted. And the Lightning clear the zone, but an errant pass will go all the way for icing with 10:21 to go in the second period and a 4-1 Lightning lead.
And it's a nice-looking entry at first by Patrick Laine. His purpose or his intent on the pass afterwards, but his line mates twisted around, can't get eye contact with Laine so that they could connect tape to tape. Tampa was really ticked off there for a second. A couple shifts ago, or the shift just before, Dvorak cuts across the blue line and takes Cirelli's stick right out of his hands, and then he's unable to play the entire D-zone with a stick.
Off the face-off, one-time shot from Carrier, tipped off a body and wide. He's got it back now at the line. Carrier at the point. Rips this round the boards. Over to Caulfield. Center Suzuki couldn't get that shot off clean as Vasilevsky had his stick in the way. Played back down low. Caulfield, sharp angle, hits his own man Evans. And Hagel tosses to center for Tampa Bay. It's gloved down by Carrier. Laid back into the Lightning zone. Hedman up to center for Nick Paul. His pass over is picked off cleanly by Kirby Dach. Now he'll start skating ahead through center with speed. Over the line. Doc drops off for Newhook. Tries a wrister. That carries wide. And it's gone out of play here somewhere along the line. And that's going to send us to a break. 9:21 left in the second period. 4-1 lead for Tampa Bay on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All-electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
Beer, chips, popcorn.
Score big at your neighborhood Voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
Canadiens hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. Another Super Bowl Sunday game for Montreal. This one isn't going particularly well so far. The one last year didn't go great for them either, John. They gave up a touchdown to St. Louis. Tampa Bay all-time on Super Bowl Sunday are 1-0. Only played once on this day before. That was February 6, 2011. That was a win over the St. Louis Blues. Face-off coming up to the glove hand side of Andrei Vasilevsky. And Tampa Bay win the face-off back. Chernak tosses it around. Cirelli at center. Carries it over the line. Doc pushes him into the boards. Now Jake Gensel. Moves it right around for Eric Chernak. Chernak at the point. Off to Gensel. Leaves it for Ryan McDonough. He'll try a shot. Rister carries wide. Now here's McDonough. Back over to Chernak. That's blocked by Anderson. Back to the blue line. McDonough. Back across. Chernak in front. That's tipped just wide. Now played right back around for Gensel. Right side. Carries down low. Cirelli behind the net. Back to the blue line. Ryan McDonough. Catch and release. The shot goes wide. Now Jake Gensel. Bounces the puck over to the right side. Chernak. Shrugging off pressure from Anderson, but the puck's picked up by Carrier. Rockets around the boards, but held in at the line by McDonough. Now Gensel lost it in the feet of the referee. And Montreal spring it out to center ice. Radish kills the play. And Dylan Duke goes back in the other way. Down the left side. Centering effort, bounces around. They're going to call this for a hand pass and bring the faceoff back outside.
Yeah, Tampa's now starting to get longer stretches in the offensive zone. They're really good, and they have been for years, at using what's called the rim release. They'll be all loaded on one quadrant of the ice, and then they'll release it to the weak side with a rim. It looks like a blind play. Weak side D's there. If he's got nothing, and they'll play along that yellow dasher as much as possible, getting teams to move out of position and hopefully tag an open man in the slot.
Neutral zone face-off. Tampa Bay play it in over the Montreal line. David Savard is there to pick it up. He'll throw that around the boards, out to center. Perbix hammers it in. Montembeault behind the net stops it, passes off to Jack-Eye. 7:26 to go in the second period. 4-1 lead for the Lightning. Here goes Slavkovsky, and on the left side, trying to go top shelf. That one looked like it hit the crossbar. Now a shot, Dvorak scores! Well, Slavkovsky came within inches of one of his own, but right after Christian Dvorak tickles the twine anyway. And it is now a 4-2 game for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Glendening tries to block this shot. And
tickles the twine anyway. And it is now a 4-2 game for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Glendening tries to block this shot, and Vasilevsky can't pick up the read, but this starts with Slavkovsky. We talked about it yesterday. Stop over passing. He comes down the wing, and he puts it off the bar, and then everything kind of opens up. And then we find a pass to the high pocket of space for Dvorak from Savard, and he lets it fly.
6th of the year for Christian Dvorak. Had a power play goal a week ago in Anaheim. And now he's got his team back within 2 today. Here goes Laine down the far side. Passes down low for Joel Armia. Centering feed doesn't get through. Zemgus Girgensons with it. He'll play it up the wing. It's chopped at by Cam Atkinson. Controlled at center by Michael Asimon. Passes off to Ryan McDonough. He'll send a backhander in that Arber Xhekaj picks up behind his own net. Xhekaj, pressure from Girgensons, who works it loose. Hagel far side. It's poked away by Xhekaj. Savard has it, and he'll get it out to center ice. Collected by Tampa Bay. They'll bring it back in over the line. Hagel passing over to Point. Carries in behind the net. Up to the blue line. Lilleberg, far side. Shot from Point goes well wide. He didn't get much on it. Now Lilleberg back below the goal line. Cycles around for Nick Paul. Nick Paul hands off. Radish in for the line. His centering feed goes right through the crease. Owen back carries to center, and he'll gently play it into the Tampa Bay zone. Lightning back in over the line. Here's Brandon Hagel. He'll skate through the slot with it, and then drop it off to Nick Paul. Nick Paul, long-range shot. Redirected in front, goes wide. Braden Point skates around with it. All the way up to the blue line. Point passing off to Chernak. Tries a wrister. That's caught. And Montembeault squeezes it with the glove. 5:23 to go on the second period. We'll step aside here once again on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
Now more than ever, shopping and supporting local is critical to Canadian business. Depodium Mini Entrepot is truly Canadian-owned and operated, proudly serving our communities for more than 25 years. Depodium Mini Entrepot. Shop local, store local at depodium.com.
The wait is almost over.
This crowd is ready for hockey.
The world's best players take the ice to compete for their country. This February, International Best on Best Hockey comes to Montreal as Team Canada stars Crosby and McDavid join forces to see which hockey nation will reign. Canada, Finland, Sweden, USA. The Four Nations Face-Off. Get your tickets today.
It's no secret. Winnie's on Crescent is winniesbar.com.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back in Montreal, 4-2 lead now for the Tampa Bay Lightning as Christian Dvorak adds one here in the second stanza for Montreal, his 6th of the season. As he's on a different look line now that features Juraj Slavkovsky as the Habs are trying to get a bit of a spark going here offensively.
We definitely like to see Slavkovsky have that shoot first mentality coming down the wing way more often.
Yep.
And that was a millimeter off of going bar down.
Wasn't much of a sound to it, though, John. Soft crossbar, apparently, in the Tampa Bay zone. As Montreal win the faceoff back. Deep in their own zone. Slavkovsky scored one similar to that against Vasilevsky back in the second meeting between these two a few weeks ago. As the Habs have iced this puck. So although Slavkovsky doesn't score, he does get an assist on that Dvorak goal. The assist to Savard and Slavkovsky.
Yeah, and that's the thing. With a wild shot like that, at times, it's what happens next. And Montreal stayed calm, cool, collected, and the pass from Savard and Dvorak finding that pocket of space and above the slot. Timely.
Habs win the D-zone face-off and toss it down the ice. Radish going back for it. Slavkovsky got the puck away and centered it, but it's picked off by Tampa Bay. That breaks a 5-game pointless drought, too, for Slavkovsky, that assist. As he's up to 30 points now on the year. Radish followed into his own zone by Slavkovsky, who forces another turnover. Back into the corner. Matheson raveled into the boards by Cirelli. Loose puck for Tampa Bay. Here's Gonçalves at center. On a breakaway, Gonçalves shoots wide of the net. And it's played to center ice by Matheson in the meantime. As Montreal carried in over the line, this is lobbed over the net by Dvorak. Now Darren Radish lays it up the far side. Backhanded out to center. Glove down by Nick Suzuki. Carries in right side. Gives it away to McDonough. Tampa Bay back through the neutral zone. Here's Hagel crossing in. Looks to pass it over. That goes off a few sticks. Now Struble behind his own net. Worked around and poked out to center. Suzuki slips in past Chernak. Suzuki to the net. That's caught by Vasilevsky, and he'll freeze it with 3:33 to play in the second.
Chernak going down, trying to hack and whack and do anything to stop Suzuki. And then it takes McDonough forcing Suzuki to sauce the pass over by laying down. But the saucer pass, unfortunately, goes kind of through the crease, and Vasilevsky catches it.
Shots 20-14 in favor of Montreal. Outshot the Devils by a pretty good margin yesterday, too. As Tampa Bay win this D-zone face-off. Carried up the right side by Hudson, who took it away. Played off to Newhook, left side. Now rolled in behind the net. Perbix in the way. Over to Hedman. Moved up off the boards. Can't get it past Newhook. Glendening and Newhook battle along the boards. Rolls down low for Anderson. He'll slip in behind the net. Breaks away from Perbix. To the point. Hudson flutters it back down low. Behind the net. Picked loose by Newhook. To the line. Hudson across. Struble's shot. That's tipped down by Anderson. Save made by Vasilevsky. Now Chafee shoved off the puck by Struble. Habs have it at the line. Here's Newhook with his shot. That's tipped side of the net and wide by Kirby Dach. Good offensive zone pressure here from Montreal as Hudson walks the line. Tries a shot. That's tipped in front. It goes wide. Back into the corner. Hedman steps into Kirby Dach. Gets the puck over to Perbix. Play to the far side. Now Chafee. Lightning still can't find a way out. Back to Hedman. Over to Perbix. Chafee. He'll finally push that out through center, and the Lightning get a much-needed change. Habs try and catch him here, but it's broken up at center ice. Owen Beck shoots it in from center, and Vasilevsky ranges out of the net to play it over. Radish with 1:55 to go in the second period. 4-2 Tampa Bay. Lightning tip it from center. Line A controls from Montreal, wheeling ahead. To center. Jackeye picks it up, shoots it in, and the Lightning Back up the far side. Asimont under pressure. Gave it away. Laine in the slot. Kicking a shot off. And the Canadiens back to the neutral zone. Laine. Laid down the boards. Tampa Bay settle it down. Radish rockets it around and all the way down the ice. That's going to go for an icing with 1:10 left.
And Montreal keeps coming. 3-4 shifts in a row. A lot of pressure. But this last stretch is on Tampa. Esimont doesn't read that Cam Atkinson has slashed behind the Canadian defenseman. He has a straight line pass to make, and it'll alleviate all this pressure. He gets caught, stuck in mud a little bit, pocket pick by Patrick Laine, and then again they have another surge where they create ozone possession.
Face off wait for Montreal. Matheson's shot goes right off of Asimont. Here's Slavkovsky far side now. Down low, Gallagher tries to get that over to Hudson, but it's again sent down by the Lightning. They've iced the puck once more.
And right now they seem, not that this is part of their plan, but they're a little more content with icing it than they are looking for a cute play or a tape-to-tape play if it's not available.
Evans to take the face-off from Montreal. He wins it back to Carrier. Ripped across to Hudson. Suzuki far side. Passes down low. Lilleberg into the corner with it. Fighting for possession. It's taken away by Radish. Now here's Asimont. Back through center. Atkinson plays it in. 30 seconds to go here in the second period. Canadiens with it. Evans through center. Rink wide looking for Caulfield. Tips it in past Chernak. Tried to center. Goes back in behind the net. Now back to the line. Lane Hudson shot. Glances off of Vasilevsky. Back to Hudson. Takes another shot. That's blocked in front. Never got through Chernak. Still time for Carrier. Final seconds. Play is broken up by Gonçalves, and that's going to finish us off here in the second period as the Lightning will maintain a 2-goal lead going to the third.
Good last 3, 4, 5 minutes here for Montreal. A lot of zone time, getting in heavy on the forecheck, making it very difficult for Tampa to break out cleanly.
Both teams head down their respective tunnels. As Brayton Point and Zemgus Girgensons both score for Tampa Bay that period, Christian Dvorak adds one for Montreal, and it's 4-2 Tampa Bay through 40 minutes of play. We're going to break, and we'll be right back on the other side of it for the second intermission roundtable on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
The Morning Show with Connor McKenna and Sean Starr tackle all the important topics in sports, life, and food. So much food talk. Wake up on the right side of the bed with The Morning Show. Eat breakfast with all the highlights and analysis of a big game. From hot takes to pancakes, you'll have it all. The Morning Show with McKenna and Starr. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10. TSN 690.
We all have the same goal, to be environmentally responsible. That's why Rio Tinto and the Montreal Canadiens are teaming up. We're replacing 1.5 million single-use plastic cups at the Bell Center with cups made with infinitely recyclable aluminum from Quebec. And the low-carbon aluminum we use for the cups is made by Rio Tinto right here in Quebec. It's a sustainability slapshot. To learn more, go to riotinto.com.
Simplify the optimization of your supply chain with Delmar. For almost 60 years, Delmar has provided integrated solutions with innovative technologies, transforming logistics challenges into effortless experiences. Visit delmarcargo.com to connect with an expert. Delmar, logistics made simple.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At Lacage, everyone's a fan.
Wow, you've got the latest model. Nice.
Oh, you should see it run.
Bell Pure Fiber?
Yep.
Sheesh, that's got power.
It's Canada's fastest and most trusted internet service.
Cool if I give it a test drive?
Promise you won't share the password?
Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $75 a month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
When you choose the STM to get to an event, you aren't just riding public transit. You're riding a wave of collective energy with fans just like you, all the way to the big event. Heading to the Bell Center? No need to put your whole day on ice. With public transit, you won't have to worry about traffic or parking. A trip to Lucien Lallier or Bonaventure Station gets you right to the heart of the action. Now that's what we call putting it on the tape. With the STM, birds of a feather ride together.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
You don't want to miss the next Molson and Montreal Canadiens viewing party on February 22nd at Les Trois Monkeys in Montreal. Come cheer on the Canadiens with fellow fans. Plenty of prizes including game tickets, jerseys, alumni appearances, entertainment, and Molson specials. Join us at a Destination Canadiens bar near you for all Molson Zone viewing parties throughout the season. For full locations and dates, visit zonemolson.ca. Must be legal drinking age.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Gensel, back across, Cirelli, the Hedman wrister, that goes wide. And Hedman back to the line. Back in front, and Point puts it in, and he scores. As Dolbish was down and out, he just slipped and had no chance to make that save. And it's a power play goal to put Tampa Bay up 3-1. Girgensons going to take the face-off for Tampa Bay, and he wins it back. Esimon tied up with Kirby Dach. Comes out loose in front. Back in there for Girgensons, and he scores. His first of the year. First as a Tampa Bay Lightning. Zemgus Girgensons makes it 4-1. Here goes Slavkovsky, and on the left side, trying to go top shelf. That one looked like it hit the crossbar. Now a shot, Dvorak scores! Well, Slavkovsky came within inches of one of his own. But right after, Christian Dvorak tickles the twine anyway. And it is now a 4-2 game for Tampa Bay. Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens Hockey on TSN 690. I'm Mitch Gallo with Lucas Scott. Canadiens trailed the Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 4-2 after 2 periods of play. Your second period scoring summary, 105. Braden Point, his 31st power play goal from Jake Gensel and Victor Hedman. 643, Zemgus Girgensons, first of the year. And first since February of 2024, Cam Atkinson and Michael Esimon get the assists. And then at 12:45, the goal you just heard, Christian Dvorak, David Savard, and Juraj Slavkovsky pick up the helpers on that one. It is time for the second intermission roundtable. Gallo, Scott, and we have our play-by-play man, Victor Finley, with us. Victor, why don't we start with the goalie pull by the Canadiens in that second period. Jakub Dobeš gets pulled after he kind of slips and leads to the wide-open net for a point on that power play goal. Dobeš's game has cooled off a little bit as of late, and the first time he has to deal with being pulled in an NHL game.
Yeah, I wonder, given the way Primo's played since going back to the American Hockey League, given the AHL Goalie of the Year honors in the month of January, if there's maybe an internal conversation here about what's best for the goaltending situation other side of the Four Nations face-off break.
Well, you would think that Primo has done everything they've asked of him and deserves another shot, and Dobish has kind of played himself back into the American League, has he not?
I don't know if it'll be the most popular decision, if that's the route they choose to go, and ultimately one bad start through the 9 that Dobish has had here isn't a definition of who he is as a goaltender and what he's been here. Still, on the whole, I think when you look at the 9 games he's played for Montreal, he's been better than expected. He's been terrific from what it's worth from my end. But I still he played his way into these opportunities, right?
Sure.
And I think for sure that the Habs made the right decision, regardless of how this goes, whether he plays more games here or not, to keep him here with the team, because during that stretch, the Habs needed some better goaltending, and they got it, whether that was from Montembeault, and Dobish was fantastic as well. So they were giving themselves a chance to win every night by keeping Dobish around in the NHL, and he looked ready right off the bat. But I think we all had to know he wasn't going to be a .945 save percentage goaltender on average for the rest of the year. That was going to come down, and whenever it does, what's better for him? Is it getting more starts in the American Hockey League with Laval as they continue to try and make a playoff push? Or is he better off here, if he's at a spot where his game has weakened a little bit, and then you go back to riding Montembeault most of the time? I don't think that's any good for Dobish here if he's missing out or not playing well enough to be worthy of getting the frequency of start that he has been over the last month or so. So I think there's going to be a pretty lengthy discussion here among Montreal Canadiens front office staff as to what the best situation is right now for Dobish, because given the way he's played here lately and what Primo's done since going back to Laval, I think there's a case to be made to make that switch again.
Other things that management is going to have to talk about, Jake Evans. TSN insider Pierre Lebrun, about 30 minutes ago, tweeted out, "My understanding is Jake Evans and the Canadiens have exchanged numbers on what an extension might look like, and they're not close. Obviously, things can change with one phone call, but as of now, that makes it more likely Evans gets dealt before the March 7th deadline. Calls from teams asking about Evans have increased lately with the Habs' current slide in the standings." Your thoughts?
That would be a tough blow, I think, to Montreal's bottom 6. And again, I think, look, ultimately of all of Montreal's assets that they have here that are most likely to be traded, I think that Evans is the most valuable. So if there's anybody that I think you could really justify a trade, because at this point I don't know how much value there is in getting a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick back for anybody. I think you could get a very nice return or a decent return, and I don't think it would be as good as the Monahan return last year that the Habs got, but I still think you could get a decent return on a rental deal for Jake Evans. I would look further into exploring that for sure, and it obviously changes things if you don't feel like you can re-sign this guy. He's probably not somebody you just want to let walk either. I think you could probably stomach that a little bit more if it's Dvorak or even Savard that ends up walking in the end, and you don't trade those players. But if the Habs don't feel like they can get a deal done, then I think it makes complete sense to try and make a trade there to get something back for him.
When I spoke to Arpon Basu of The Athletic on Melnick in the afternoon this week, he had an interesting thought that maybe, considering how good they are on the PK together, Armia and Evans packaged together to get maybe a better asset than if they're just trading them both individually.
Well, I remember, a team like Colorado last year needed help with the deadline on the penalty kill. They went out, got Brandon Duhaime and Yakov Trenin, right? And then that was their PK, and they were perfect for about a month after the trade deadline when they made that. So without looking at the standings right now, I'd have to see who's out there in terms of teams that are contending teams that are struggling on the PK and could use two guys. Yeah, I think it's totally a conceivable deal to be made, even though Trenin and Duhaime were brought in from separate teams. The point is that Colorado wanted two guys to come in and be penalty killers for them. So if you're looking for two guys to help your team to be two penalty killing forwards right away for you, you don't have to look too far. There's two of them here on the same team that could both be traded.
And very quickly, because I don't think we're going to have time in the post game, Victor, I know you're not the biggest football guy, but your Super Bowl pick.
My Super Bowl pick is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
There you go. That's what I want to hear. Victor, thank you. I'm going to just let that sit.
All right. Sounds good, buddy.
There is Victor Findlay coming back with the third period to play. I'm Mitch Gallo with Lucas Scott. Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690 has the Canadiens trailing the Lightning 4-2 after 2. Your out-of-town scoreboard is coming up next.
Planning your business projects can raise some questions. Which foreign markets have the most potential for growth? What's the best way to stay competitive? How should you prepare to pass on the torch? But planning your projects with Desjardins Business provides answers. From digital transformation to transfers, we're focused on whatever it takes to help you move forward. Because at Desjardins Business, we do business together.
For over 10 years, Novo has teamed up with thousands of employers to establish high-performance OHS game plans. We excel in our field by providing top-level, comprehensive, and integrated occupational health, safety, well-being, and human resources services. Being part of your success is our greatest motivation and pushes us to innovate every day. Together, we are creating healthy, dedicated, and safe workplaces. Novo is a proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens Hockey on TSN 690. I'm Mitch Gallo. The Montreal Canadiens are down right now by a score of 4-2 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. But let's get you caught up on the out-of-town scoreboard. Your out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by CM Textiles. Only one other game in the National Hockey League this afternoon at 1:10. Josh Jones scored to put up the Utah Hockey Club by a score of 1-0. Your other goals, now it's 4-3 Utah leading, but you have Michael Carsoni scoring from Dylan Gunther and Nick DeSimo. You have 347. Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson's got 23 goals on the season. He scored on the power play from Pierre-Luc Dubois and Dylan Strome. 707. Jack McBain with Michael Kessering and Josh Stone getting assists. 3-1 game for Utah. And then Washington makes it 3-2 on a goal from Pierre-Luc Dubois at 12:38 of the first period. Power play goal. Tom Wilson and Alex Ovechkin with assists on that one. 2:47, Dylan Gunther's 20th on the power play put Utah up by a score of 4-2 with Clayton Keller and Mikhail Sergachev getting assists and making it a one-goal game, 4-3. Utah leading, but Washington with the goal, 4:49. Dylan Strome in 16th, Alex Ovechkin second point of the game, and Connor McMichael also has an assist on that one. Of course, on this Sunday, we have the Super Bowl set for kickoff at 6:30. And I just want to let you know we will have it for you live here on TSN 690 at 6:30. Our coverage beginning at 5. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Chiefs trying to make it 3 Super Bowl wins in a row. That's your out-of-town scoreboard. Coming up next, the third period between Tampa Bay and Montreal. Tampa Bay up 4-2. Victor Finley and John Goins with the call.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
Habs fans, get ready for Molson Finale.
Official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
Habs fans, get ready for Molson Fanatic Saturdays, the biggest party in town every Saturday night home game. Start your night at Les Trois Monkeys at Les Cours Mont-Royal at 4 p.m. with Canadiens-themed games, a chance to win game tickets, and even shoot on the Bell Center ice. Head to the game for exclusive in-arena activations and prizes. After the final buzzer, the party continues at Les Trois Monkeys. Meet Canadiens alumni and score a $15 arcade voucher. Molson Fanatic Saturdays, the ultimate hockey fan experience.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Wow, you've got the latest model. Nice.
Oh, you should see it run.
Bell Pure Fiber?
Yep.
Sheesh, that's got power.
It's Canada's fastest and most trusted internet service.
Cool if I give it a test drive?
Promise you won't share the password?
To check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. About 20 seconds away from puck drop here in the start of the third period between Montreal and Tampa Bay. Victor Finlay in the broadcast booth with John Goyens here for Habs hockey on TSN 690. John, Habs are looking for another come-from-behind win as they trail the Tampa Bay Lightning by 2 goals here. The Lightning, after 40 minutes this year, are 23-1-1.
Hey, it's one of those messages. 20 minutes, you get 10 days off, leave it all out on the ice.
Kirby Dach versus Anthony Cirelli for the opening faceoff here in the third. And the Lightning win it back. Ryan McDonough shoots it in. Comes around for Struble. Played back behind the Montreal net. Perbix right side. Back down low for Gage Gonsalves, who rips one around. That goes just wide of the net. Gonsalves back down low again. Tried to center for Gensel. This is broken up. And Montreal played out to center ice. Lane Hudson weaving past Gonsalves. Snaps it over. Newhook with a shot. That goes off the leg of Nick Perbix. Now back toward the line. Lane Hudson plays it down low. Far side hash marks. Cirelli jams that back down low behind the Tampa net. Perbix moves it around. To the line. Carrier back down low. Newhook into the corner. Perbix over for Hedman. Josh Anderson gingerly back to the bench here, John. And maybe going down the tunnel.
Yeah, he just fell awkwardly, and he was getting up slowly. There wasn't dirty play, just a weird fall collision.
He's keeled over right now on the end of the bench. As Tampa Bay go back to their own zone here. Vasilevsky behind the net. Sweeps it around. Point. Up the wing. Taken back by Montreal. Carrier passes off. Caulfield with a shot. And Vasilevsky shuts the door. Back to center. Caulfield plays it off the boards. And back into the Tampa Bay zone it goes. McDonough rockets it back to the neutral zone. Suzuki left side. He'll shoot it around. To the point. Savard shot. That's tipped wide by Caulfield. Right back out and all the way through center on the feet intended for Savard. Both teams are changing as Savard goes in behind his own net. Savard to center for Slavkovsky. Taken away by Tampa Bay. Here goes Girgensons off to Eyssimont. Long range shot off the foot of Girgensons, and a pad save is made by Montembeault as Montreal back the other way. Dvorak ahead for Gallagher into the near corner. Girgensons for Tampa Bay. Hooks it over to Radish. And the Lightning clear it out through center ice. That misses the mark for Eyssimont. It's an icing here. Just about 2.5 minutes into the start of period number 3.
Decent start here by Montreal. They are not allowing Tampa to break out cleanly. They've had a couple looks from some simple offense. Low to highs, deflections, recovering pucks, getting it back and reloading the same type of approach.
Josh Anderson still on the bench, John, as we get another look at the collision that sent him off. As Tampa Bay win the D-zone face-off.
And set it down ice. Looks like Anderson's going to try and stay in this game. And we know, John, too, he's been fighting something here the last few weeks. He has not been a practice player lately for Montreal. As the Habs work it deep into the Tampa Bay zone. Here's Line A. Back to the point. Struble passes across. Lane Hudson. Up high. Tries a shot. Sharp deflection in front. Armia got a stick on that. That went wide. Then the Lightning had taken a penalty here. As the whistle gets blown, it's going to be a trip to send Montreal back to the man advantage. So 2 minutes for tripping to Luke Glendening will provide a power play advantage for the Montreal Canadiens, brought to you by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, Glendening gets tied up with Patrick Laine at the side of the net. And now this is huge. I mean, this is a Captain Obvious moment, but they need one here.
Habs win the face-off. Hudson at the line. Off to Caulfield. Suzuki, one-timer. That was a rocket. And Vasilevsky's over in time to make the save.
And again, it's one of those set face-offs. So Patrick Laine has to slide from his flank all the way down to the goal line, and it opens up an east-west lane from Caulfield to Suzuki, who drifts out of the bumper spot, ends up on the weak side circle for a one-timer.
Off the face-off, Habs control it. Here's Laine to the point. Hudson over to Caulfield. Back to Hudson. Caulfield out in front. Suzuki's shot is stopped. Back to Lane Hudson. He'll send one wide. Now knocked away from Laine, and it's poked down the ice by Cirelli. Hagel looks like he's going to win the foot race for it. And he's quickly ganged up on by the Habs in the Montreal zone. Caulfield takes it away. 16 minutes to go in the third. A minute 15 left of the power play. 4-2 the lead for Tampa Bay. Canadiens send this into the offensive zone. Lilleberg battles in the corner with Laine. As the puck comes loose, it's shot off the glass by Gensel and all the way down the ice. Now Montembeault leaves it for Mike Matheson. Center, he'll drop it back. Now here goes Newhook for a skate. Right in over the line, Newhook fans on the shot. Gets it back to Doc off the wing. To the point, Matheson. Back down low for Gallagher. Taken away by Gensel off the far side. Almost got it out past Dvorak. Now it's shipped down the ice by Victor Hedman. 20 seconds left of the power play. Matheson to center. Throws it in the back end. Vasilevsky daringly out to play it. Sends it to the corner. Kirby Dach is tied up there. Chernak with McDonough. Puck slot Dvorak. Out of the box is Glendening. Dvorak left side. Shot drifts wide. Comes around for Alex Newhook. Newhook. Long range shot off of traffic in front. It's a quick cover for Vasilevsky. As the power play goes by the wayside, the Canadiens are 1 for 2 this afternoon.
And again, Newhook looked really good. He had his own entry. They worked it around the wall at one point. I thought maybe Gallagher would see that Newhook is kind of faded high and was diving right down through between the hash marks. Didn't catch him in time, and then after that, Tampa Bay really didn't give Montreal any other looks.
Face off to the glove hand side of Vasilevsky. Owen Beck leaning in versus Emkus Girgensons. Beck wins it back all the way out to center though. Shot back in by Struble. And the Lightning lay it off the boards and out to center ice. Struble in over the line with Joel Armia. Back up the middle. Passes off. Anderson to the net. That's broken up by Vasilevsky. Anderson fell down in the corner. As Owen back up the wing to the line. Here's Struble with a shot. That's off a couple bodies in front. Now Anderson falls in the slot. Far side. Tampa Bay pick it up. Braden Point out to center.
Crossing in, offside as Hagel went down. Another eventful shift for Josh Anderson.
And that last look, that last zone entry is all based on Jaden Struble. Great jump to cut off a pass in the neutral zone and take it the other way.
4-2 Tampa Bay, 13:52 left in play on Habs Hockey at TSN 690.
Planning a business transfer can raise some questions. How do you evaluate its worth? Who will take over? Planning a business transfer can raise some questions. How do you evaluate its worth? Who will take over? What's an efficient transfer plan? But planning a transfer with Desjardins Business provides answers. From the financial transaction to transitioning to your new life, we're focused on whatever it takes to help you pass on the torch when the time comes. Because at Desjardins Business, we do business together.
Looking to update your home decor? Start with MF Paints. For your kitchen, living room, bathroom, patio, you'll want to paint it all. MF Paints, 100% Canadian-made paints and stains. Preferred by professionals and DIYers alike. Available throughout Quebec at your local retailer.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
The home of your Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690.
4-2 Tampa Bay, the lead here in the third. Shots now 27-16 in favor of Montreal. So Andrei Vasilevsky, John, gets the rare back-to-back in as many days starts for Tampa Bay.
Right, and that was a discussion we had prior to coming up here in the booth with several people, with the fact that Tampa will be off for about 10 or so days. Why not go back-to-back with your stud goaltender?
Jonas Johansson is injured right now. He's dealing with an upper body injury. Otherwise, I think we'd probably be seeing him today. So instead, the Lightning have Brandon Halverson as the backup. It's quite the story. Originally a second-round pick to the Rangers. Played one game with them in relief of Henrik Lundqvist back in 2018. Toiled through the minors. Played in the German second division for a year, before recently signing and getting called up from Syracuse in the American Hockey League to be the backup. It doesn't look like we'll see him here today, as Montreal have it in the Tampa Bay zone. Caulfield far side. Moves it into the far corner. Ryan McDonough steals it away and bounces it out to center. Gonçalves misses Genso with the pass, and Lane Hudson wins the race for the icing call.
Tampa Bay has been about an inch to a foot off of about 3 or 4 opportunities to really launch their transition, and they haven't been able to connect. Part of that is Montreal is hounding them. Now Montreal has to take advantage, steal one, send it the other way, and they've got to find a way to chip away Vasilevsky.
Christian Dvorak to face off against Anthony Cirelli. And the Tampa Bay zone. Dvorak wins it back right to Matheson. Wrister, that's stopped. And quickly covered up by Vasilevsky. Face off again here to the blocker side of Vasilevsky. Dvorak's now 6 for 12 this afternoon after that last one. Evans is 7 for 11. He's been the best face-off taker today for Montreal. Dvorak, I think they'll say he probably lost this one as it's angled off the boards. Taken back by Montreal from center. Mike Matheson passes over to Lane Hudson. Back to Matheson at center, and he'll wrist it in around the boards. Hedman around for Hagel, played out to center. Struble moves it back into the neutral zone. Slavkovsky carries in over the line. And Montreal follow it in deep to the Tampa zone. Lightning move it around, back to the near side. Struble carries in behind the net. Anderson Sends that up off the glass. That catches in protective netting. It's out of play.
And again, it looks like Tampa is content with just leaning on Montreal in the D zone and letting plays die on the wall. And they just sit there and they just press on them. They're not allowing them to kick pucks to the interior whatsoever. And it seems to be draining a little bit of their swagger offensively.
Face off to the glove hand side of Andrei Vasilevsky. And done incorrectly the first time. They'll try it again. Jurgensen gets waved, so Eyssimont in to face off against Jake Evans. Now Eyssimont is talking to from the linesman. And we finally drop the puck. Tampa Bay take it away up the center. Racing after it, Cam Atkinson throws it back in front of the Montreal net to the far corner. Eyssimont back in behind. Carries it around the near side. Pass goes all the way out through center. Chernak hustling back for it. Suzuki bears down on him. And they'll both go toward the end boards in the Lightning zone, and Tampa Bay start back up the ice with Cam Atkinson. To center, backhanded in by Jurgensens. Struble with it behind his own net. Survey the ice. And start ahead with a pass off for Carey. That missed the mark. Glendening plays it right back in. Struble again, now with a forecheck pressure for Glendening. As puck ends up going high, out of play. As John, with Jaden Struble back in the lineup today, what do you thought of him this afternoon?
I thought he's had a good jump. The one goal that he was on with Lane Hudson, for example, I don't think he read the numbers for Tampa, and he stepped outside dots way too early. But his jump is there. His physicality is there. He bumps into guys that are a foot taller than him, and they bounce off him. So I've liked his play overall.
Montreal into the attacking zone. Anderson passes off for Savard. Dylan Duke takes him to the boards. Savard works it down low. Settled down by Lilleberg. And Tampa Bay start the breakout through center. Here goes Radish down the right side. Direct side to the net as he gets hammered to the boards by Jack-Eye. Big hit there as Sam Montembeault covered up.
And that's one of those hits you want to see from Jack-Eye. He doesn't go running after it. He just rides his guy out of the play, finishes his hit, and Radish ends up parallel to the ice. It's a clean hit and nothing extracurricular afterwards either.
Both teams will change up the lines here as Tampa Bay sends Cirelli out for the face-off with Gonsalves and Gensel. Montreal with Dvorak, Slavkovsky, and Brendan Gallagher. Dvorak wins the face-off right to Matheson. Now Carrier stretches to center. That skips on. Gallagher goes right to Vasilevsky. He's going to cover this quickly. 10:50 to go in the third. It's a 4-2 lead for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay in the neutral zone, if they can play as often as possible, push pucks below the hash mark in the Canadian zone. And even if they lose possession, they get reloaded in the neutral zone. It'll look like a 1-1-3. If you overhand the pucks, it'll drop to a 1-3-1. What does that do? It takes away time and space for Montreal on zone entries, forcing them to dump it.
Matheson off the face-off. Skates it in behind the net. Tried to center. That goes out into the slot. Gallagher scores! Here's another for Brendan Gallagher. This one goes off the goal post and in. And Montreal draw to within one.
Broken play. Matheson had carried it in deep. Threw it out to the front. Wild bounce. Hedman tries to knock it down to his stick. And instead it ends up bouncing right to Gallagher, who had covered for Mike Matheson. The other part is the work of Slavkovsky, who leans on Hedman so he cannot get to that puck after he swatted it down with his hand.
That's Gallagher's second 2-goal game of the year. He had 2 in Boston back on October 10th, second game of the year. And Montreal are right back on the doorstep of a tie game this afternoon. 4-3 Lightning with 10.5 to play in the third. Big scrum along the near side boards. We're in the Montreal zone. Chernak gets it loose. To the line. McDonough tipped it front. That went just wide off the stick of Nick Paul. Now back to the blue line again. Chernak, another shot. This is gloved down by Montembeault, and he squeezes that. So 14 goals on the year now for Brendan Gallagher. He's just one back of Nick Suzuki.
That's pretty wild.
That's the second most on the team. Nick Suzuki had 15. So here we are over halfway through the year, and Brendan Gallagher has outscored Patrick Laine, albeit Laine's had far fewer games. Juraj Slavkovsky, Alex Newhook, among many others here on this lineup for the third most goals in the team.
Yeah, with Caulfield at 26 in the number 1 spot, it doesn't show well for goal depth.
Here goes Matheson, turning around from center. Crowd getting back into it now. That's nice to hear. And a bit of a quiet afternoon in Montreal with the Habs chasing this one all day. They have not led as Montreal go back to their own zone. At one point it was a 4-1 lead for Tampa Bay. Now it's down to 4-3. Canadiens carrying over the line. Here's Owen back up the middle. Hard wrister. That's stopped by Vasilevsky, and the rebound flies just wide of the net. Now back to the line. Here's Lane Hudson. Passes around the boards. Hedman back to the far side. Cut off by Yoel Armia. Armia off the boards. Takes a couple pushes. Low shot from Owen Beck is stopped. And it goes all the way back out to center. Struble recovers. I'm starting to get some momentum back here with the crowd back into it. There's Lane Hudson up the center. Plays it ahead for Dodd. Thrown right back off the boards by Tampa Bay. Hagel down the wing. Battles with Matheson. Just swung around the boards. Lilleberg. Back behind the net. Carrier cuts it off from Gensel. To the line. Thrown right back to the net for Montembeault to cover up and get the whistle. 8:35 left in the third period of play. This is Brendan Gallagher. His 14th of the year, second of the day for Montreal. He's made it 4-3 on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, every atmosphere. Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan. Everyone's a fan.
Wow, you've got the latest model. Nice.
Oh, you should see it run.
Bell Pure Fiber?
Yep.
Sheesh, that's got power.
It's Canada's fastest and most trusted internet service.
Cool if I give it a test drive?
Promise you won't share the password?
Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $75 a month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
When you choose the STM to get to an event, you aren't just riding public transit. You're riding a wave of collective energy with fans just like you, all the way to the big event. Heading to the Bell Center? No need to put your whole day on ice. With public transit, you won't have to worry about traffic or parking. A trip to Lucien Lallier or Bonaventure Station gets you right to the heart of the action. Now that's what we call putting it on the tape. With the STM, birds of a feather ride together.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
Back at the Bell Center, Habs trying to tie this one up against Tampa Bay as Patrick Laine, Yoel Armia, and Sam Montembeault will get recognition here as they're set to head off. I say head off, it's going to be right here before each face off in their respective countries.
They might have to change hotel rooms.
They might. I should ask him about that, to be honest with you. Yoel Armia lives close here. Not the family, of course, as this puck goes out of play into the Montreal bench. Does he stay with the team? Does he stay with his family?
There's a good chance they're going to stay with the team.
Big suitcases for a couple of these Tampa Bay Lightning guys. John, including the head coach, John Cooper. They're the last game before the break, but it's in a good spot for them. Made the trip to Detroit yesterday, then right after flew to Montreal, and then they'll be here for about a week before the tournament goes to Boston. As the Habs have iced it here off the face-off, and then just like Montreal, Tampa Bay actually get an extra day, beg your pardon there, before coming back on Sunday, February 23rd at home versus Seattle.
And you got to wonder how that's going to affect Tampa coming out of the Four Nations in terms of having enough juice, enough gas, because it's a lot of their top dogs, and they already lack a little bit of that third line depth.
Habs win the face-off back in their own end. Up to center. Here goes Alex Newhook for a skate. Drops off for Josh Anderson. That wrister just missed. And Alex Carrier off the far wing. Over to Newhook. Back out to center. It comes from Mike Matheson, and he'll wrist it in. Skips around now for Gensel. Perbix behind the net for Hedman. Played back around for Nick Perbix. To center. Tipped by Hagel. He gave it away. Here go the Habs again. Evans dropping off for Newhook. He tries his shot. Ramped out of play off a stick.
And I get Tampa doesn't have Nikita Kucherov in their lineup, but they can't be happy. They didn't even play safe, really. They've just not been able to play their style, their transition offensively. A lot of plays getting cut off in the neutral zone, or the pucks having to be...
Nick Paul in for the face-off against Nick Suzuki. Suzuki wins it right back to Hudson. Tries the wrister. That goes off the glass. Now into the corner. Nick Paul battles with Carrier. Take it back to the line for Lane Hudson. Now Suzuki in the corner. Point plays it behind the net for Chernak. The backhand it up for Paul. Doc knocks it down and then chucks it right back into the corner. Gonçalves to center ice. Suzuki takes it over. Lightning take it away. Back to center, intercepted by Suzuki. Now off to Doc. Back across. Picked away by Gage Gonçalves. And Montreal reset at center. Here goes Doc, handing off to Suzuki. Back into the attacking zone. Off the boards, Cole Caulfield over to Savard with a shot, and that's caught by Vasilevsky, and he hangs on tight. Habs are really coming on here,
yeah, and quite the battle in front. Kirby Dach battling away with Eric Chernak. That is no small customer, battling, and that's something that we need to see more from Kirby Dach, is fighting his way in and around the net and maybe find a garbage-type goal, or at least affect Vasilevsky's depth in his crease by standing there and forcing him to play deeper.
Dvorak wins the faceoff. Here's Matheson far side, skates it out in front and can't connect with Slavkovsky, who was on the doorstep. Now Hedman in the corner. Slavkovsky picks it away. After the faceoff done, Montreal settle it down to the line. Savard bobbled it. Here goes Girgensons. Breakaway from the line. Girgensons to the forehand. Can't get the shot away. Now Montreal deep in their own zone. 6:23 to play. Down 4-3. Slavkovsky moves it in off the boards. Vasilevsky ventures out of the net. Played around. Dvorak cuts it off. Down low Gallagher for Slavkovsky. Tried to curl it back in front. Picked away by Zemgus Girgensons. Hoisted out to center ice. Slavkovsky ushers it over to Arbor Jacki. skating in on Radish. Jackey's held up. And Hedman from behind the net plays it back up to center ice. Here goes Hagel. Off of the... And Hedman from behind the net plays it back up to center ice. Here goes Hagel. Off of the wing for Gensel. His shot stopped. As Gensel plays it around to the line. Perbix for Lilleberg. Big battle in front here with Jackeye and Sorelli as the puck comes over to the corner. Back into the slot. Anderson scoops it up. Through center ice. Anderson over the blue line. Feeds it across. Matheson. That's poked away by Hagel. To the line for Carrier. Off to the far side. Newhook fans of the one-timer. Now Anderson goes down. He's looking for a call. And he's not going to get one. And it's Montreal reloaded center ice. Here's Matheson. Back for Carrier. 5 minutes to play in the third. Here goes Suzuki. Cut off at center by Perbix. Love down at center ice by Matheson now. Dragged back into the Montreal zone by Tampa Bay. Here's Caulfield. Back to the end boards. Get some help from Suzuki. Played ahead out through center. Matheson lobs it all the way down the ice. That's going to be an icing here as McDonough gets back to it.
Fans were too happy that Vasilevsky got away with a trip, or what looks like a trip, against Josh Anderson.
Face off all the way back to the Montreal zone. Braden Point versus Nick Suzuki. Off the face-off, Tampa control. Here's Chernak, winds and fires. That shot goes high and out of play. It was a big day yesterday, John, for Eric Chernak. A rare three-point game for the Slovak defenseman. That last shot going out of play will send us to our final break of the afternoon. 4:30 to go in the third. It's a one-goal game on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
Habs fans, get ready for Molson Fanatic Saturdays, the biggest party in town every Saturday night home game. Start your night at Les Trois Monkeys at Les Cours Mont-Royal at 4 p.m. with Canadiens-themed games, a chance to win game tickets, and even shoot on the Bell Center ice. Head to the game for exclusive in-arena activations and prizes. After the final buzzer, the party continues at Les Trois Monkeys. Meet Canadiens alumni and score a $15 arcade voucher. Molson Fanatic Saturdays, the ultimate hockey fan experience.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
The home of your Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690.
4.5 minutes to go. Habs have salvaged an entertaining game out of this one. 34-20, the shots in favor of Montreal. They need one to tie it at 4.
And you got to wonder here, down by a goal, we've seen recently a guy like Laine not being trusted and slightly better that he might get that opportunity. But there are others that have been pushing forward and playing better.
Laine's played 9:40 of ice time today. It's the second fewest minutes on the team. He doesn't have a shot. Montreal, D-zone face-off. Center. Slavkovsky snaps it in. Stopped behind the net by Vasilevsky. Moved around the boards to the line, picked up by Carrier. Matheson far side. Out in front, trying to jam that home was Dvorak. Was back behind the Tampa Bay net. Chernak. Played up the wing. Matheson in from the point. Centers, no one there. As AC Mont grabs it. He'll skate to center and then shoot it in right past Montembeault. He settles that down. And Montreal will start the breakout again with Carrier back behind his own net. Carrier off to Matheson.
Up to center, lobs it in. He didn't cross center ice, though. And that's going to be an icing here with 3:40 to play.
No, not even close. And again, this is what that 1-1-3 that could collapse into a 1-3-1 could do to you, is you go for the set breakout, they identify your first swing option, they stay with him, and then the next guy, their F2, fills that middle, but then they end up 3 wide across, and it really takes away openings for any type of passes through the neutral zone.
Canadians win the faceoff in their own end. Matheson up to center, stolen away by Tampa Bay. Gonçalves back into the Montreal zone, all the way to the corner. Near side, they battle for it. Lightning take it away. Braden Point, low shot goes off of Matheson. Now picked up by Nick Suzuki as he gets out to center. It's gloved down by McDonough. Played back into the Montreal zone. Hudson over to Struble. Now Hudson again. Slowly to center. It's tipped in by Anderson. Hedman back for it. Plays it around the boards. Chipped out to center by Gensel. Now Newhook at center. Off to Struble left side. He shoots it in. Played around the boards. Cirelli for Gensel. Bouncing puck. He'll backhand it down the ice. Here goes Hagel. Hagel on the wing. Tries a wrister. That goes wide. Loose puck for Josh Anderson. Gives it away at center. Then Gensel gave it right back. Picked up by Lane Hudson in neutral territory. Now wristed in by Matheson. Goes around the boards. Gensel lost the handle on it. Newhook centers. And Doc was stick checked by Cirelli in front. Newhook tries another shot. Rolls wide off a body. Taken by Cirelli. Up to the neutral zone. He'll filter it in. Lightning and Canadiens both change. 2:05 to go. 4-3 Tampa Bay. There goes Nick Suzuki up to center ice. Montembeault starting to drift out of the Montreal net. Stays there for now. As Slavkovsky left side. Now Montembeault makes a break for it. Habs look to set it up. 6-on-5. Here's Hudson at the line. Laine's the extra attacker. Far side. He goes down low for Slavkovsky. Centering feed. There's a shot for Caulfield that carries wide. Now Lane Hudson. Back to the point side. He goes down low for Slavkovsky. Centering feed. There's a shot for Caulfield that carries wide. Now Lane Hudson. Back to the point. Suzuki. One-timer Jack-Eye stick explodes it too, and the Lightning get it out to center ice. And Jack-Eye changes for Mike Matheson. Now Suzuki in. Just over the line. Down the wing for Laine. Back to Nick Suzuki. Hudson up top. Left side Laine. For Suzuki. Now Matheson to Hudson at the line. Laine, one-timer, ricochets off of Slavkovsky and wide. Final minute. Laine for Hudson. Far side Caulfield. Back around, one-timer for Laine, and the save is made by Andrei Vasilevsky.
That answers that question. Laine is entrusted on the 6-on-5. They look to him twice for one-timers off the flank. He's going to have to find his way, though, to get closer to the dot lane and not shoot everything from outside dots. It gives Vasilevsky way too much time to get across.
And Montreal's called the timeout, John, so Martin St. Louis got the whiteboard, and he's got 48.8 seconds here of game time to work with to try and get Montreal back to a tie game at 4-4.
So they're going to go with a draw on the left side, right?
I think so, yep.
Are they going to put out Dvorak just for the draw? That's his strong side. Unless they look to win it to the inside, you've got Suzuki at 58.3%, Dvorak's at 61.1%, and Jake Evans, who's taken 15 draws, is 73.3%.
Gallagher's on the ice. So is Christian Dvorak, with Laine, Caulfield, Hudson, and Nick Suzuki.
And Brendan Gallagher's out there. So he's going to park himself in the crease. We'll see him get inside guys like Eric Chernak in front of the net.
So Dvorak versus Glendening, the two best face-off takers on either side. False start. Glendening's going to get tossed. So Cirelli steps in. And Dvorak wins it back. Here's Hudson at the line. And that leaves 38 seconds remaining.
And again, you see Gallagher, because he's not the biggest guy, what he does is he finds a way to get inside the hands of any defenseman that try to box him out. And that's what he's doing to Eric Chernak, who's a big customer, 6'4", 235. But Gallagher just finds a way to get inside, and he's going to be hunting down any type of rebound.
Now Dvorak goes to the bench in exchange for Slavkovsky. The face-off on the right side. Nick Suzuki's going to take it. Lightning win the face-off back. McDonough gets that out from center. Gensel rolls it wide of the net. Laine back to the near side boards with Gensel. Battle in the Montreal zone. Habs get it out to center. Reeled in by McDonough. Left side, another chance for Gensel. Another shot block. Loose in front. Hagel can't get it. Cirelli shot and he scores. And after a trio of chances, Tampa Bay finally got the empty netter. And that one's going to seal this one off today. It's a 2-goal game, 5-3 for the Lightning.
And that's unfortunate. They had some good looks, good puck movement. It was actually Laine got a stick on the original empty net opportunity by Gensel. And you think, oh, create yourself blocked by working hard, but they weren't able to get it north of that red line.
No center ice face off. 15 seconds on the clock. And the Lightning have put this one out of reach. This is chipped in from center. Montembeault steps out to play it. No, it's been a tough stretch here for Montreal, and it doesn't get any better today. As one more shot from Owen Beck is turned aside by Vasilevsky. Habs go 2-10. Over the last while as they head into the Four Nations face-off break. With losers of both games on the weekend, they dropped this one by a 5-3 final today to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, there were just moments where it felt like even though the shot clock was in their favor, at times they were chasing the game early. Then it got a little bit better, but they weren't able to really create a cohesiveness in offense, especially amongst their more relied upon offensive threats.
Johnson, the end of this one, 35-21 in favor of Montreal. They cannot outscore the Tampa Bay Lightning on this afternoon. Jakubowicz was pulled today after 3 goals on 8 shots. Lightning would not look back. As we'll send it back down ice level, here are the Molson 3 stars of the game.
D'aujourd'hui, here are today's Molson 3 stars. La troisième étoile, the 3rd star, Braden Point. La deuxième étoile, the 2nd star, Brendan Gallagher. Et la première étoile, the 1st star, Victor Hedman.
Oh, Victor Hedman with a pair of points today. Braden Point with a goal, and then Brendan Gallagher, 2 goals. Your 2nd star of the day for Montreal. Here is the play of the game, brought to you by Tim Hortons, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Opposite off the face-off, skates it in behind the net. Tried to center.